Monster Integration by N1. Chapter 301 Comprehending. I thought for many reasons, but there is only one reason that led me to choose the rule of killing, that is my seamless connection with it. This connection I felt with rule of killing is much stronger than the rest, even my connection with rule of killing and rest paled in front of it. Even if object of rule of this rule is nearly depleted, but I can feel if I try hard enough, I can definitely comprehend this rule. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. When I entered through the door, I had expected to feel myself drown in the feeling of killing, but I did not find so. Beautiful runes could be seen carved across the hall in a concentric circular fashion, and in the center of the runic concentric circles lay stark white axe, and around several lines of blood could be seen. These lines of blood are very thin and faint, and they could be seen appearing, disappearing all over the axe. That axe seemed to be object of rule, which is emitting the power of rule. I did not waste time and quickly walked toward the circle. Soon I reached near the outer runic circle and took a step inside it. Kill, 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 ah. I let out a loud scream as the force of the rule assaulted me. What I earlier felt was a breeze compared to this storm. The sensation I felt earlier, it felt quite mild compared to this. All I heard kill, kill, kill in my mind, and heavy intent of killing had assaulted me. Not only that, I am feeling thousands of axes are hacking across my body. This killing rule had the flavor of madness in it. Earlier I also felt a little madness, but at a minute, but now I am feeling it 100 times stronger. I have to keep my mind clear, otherwise it will warp my mind and made me mindless killer who only know how to kill. I just took a step inside the runic circle and outer circle at that. I can't imagine how much the sensation will increase when I fully enter inside, much less other 7 circles ahead of me. Despite having my mind assaulted by such heavy power of killing rule which could warp my mind, I did not take a step back. This rule is very powerful, more than I had imagined. If I able to comprehend its power, then becoming a strong powerhouse would not be out of question, otherwise I would have taken my leg out and walked out to comprehend the different rule. That is why I did not take a step back and kept rooted on the spot. The rule power of killing keep assaulting me and I kept resisting it, but as time passed, I felt like the power of the rule is increasing gradually and it wouldn't be long before I could break all my resistance. That would be disastrous. I have to think of the way quickly. As I kept resisting it, I feel that the power of rule is sentient as it kept attacking toward the memories where I felt intense intent to kill. The memories of mine where I felt an intense desire to kill toward another being, like when I was 11 years old and horde broke into my time, I with my family and friend running toward shelter when suddenly a huge bird monster came from the sky and took my friend. That was the first time I had felt the intent to kill something. Next time was when I was coming toward the West Blood City and train had been attacked by the monster horde. That was the second time I felt intent to kill. After coming to West Blood, my killing intent toward another being rose due to constant and hunting, and in this past year, it had become even greater as I was kept fighting crazily to break the limit. As it kept attacking these memories, my resistance also started to weaken. That at one point, it reached near breaking point that I kept resisting with my sheer will. As I was frantically searching for the way, a daring thought came into my mind. Why don't I stop resisting it altogether? I feel like if I kept resisting it, I will not be able to comprehend the rule, and moreover only my half a foot in the circle, not my whole body and their 8 circles I will have to cross if I sit in front of the axe. After much thinking, I felt this the only viable method I have left. In the books that I have read, there is no current method of comprehending, as everyone has their own way of comprehending the rule. Taking a deep sigh, I stopped resisting the power of rule and let it wash over my mind. Ah! I screamed loudly as the power of rule of killing washed on my mind, and I screamed. It is not do I felt pain, but the sensation of killing. All I could do is keep my most precious memories from being violated by this sensation. It held the extreme urge of the kill. I wanted to just kill, and I would have left my place, gone outside, if not for me suddenly became immobile. I am not immobile to power of rule, but because of the runes. It had somehow restricted my movement, as if sensing what I am going to do. For a few minutes, this sensation had been extremely strong, but after some time I started to feel a little better as I got used to the killing intent. Tap tap. I took 2 steps and fully entered the outer runic, first, circle and sat down directly as I felt it will take some time. The assault of killing intent increased 3 times more, bearing such immense killing intent all I could do is protect my mind at the best. I felt like my mind is a dam that is holding down the river of killing, no matter gate I opened to decrease the water, it kept increasing until it reaches its limit and broke the dam. There is only a small respite that as time passed the dam also getting bigger and stronger, but still, if water of the river increases beyond limit then the dam had to break no matter how strong it is. As the killing intent washing over my mind with time, it became slightly bearable and seeing that I started to observe it. First I felt like it only has madness in it, but as I kept observing more and more I luckily caught a different killing intent which is the complete opposite of this killing rule which filled with madness. There is no doubt that whoever had comprehended this law is a madman, and what little sanity is like an island in the whole sea which couldn't affect his flow, but this little bit of sanity gave me huge hope. This killing rule is completely opposite that of one filled with madness. This killing is like a sheathed blade, the blade will not harm others if it is in its sheath, but once it's get out of it, it will lay out the mountain of bodies. I did not let go of this killing rule, even if it just drops compares to the whole river of madness, but it is enough for me. I completely started observing this killing rule with my full concentration without caring about a load of maddening killing rule washing over me. The more I observe it, the more I feel this is the killing rule best for me, and because of this stable killing rule did I feel such a strong connection. Tap tap tap. As I kept observing it, bearing pressure of maddening killing rule became easier, it became so bearable that I took a step in second concentric circle and sat in it. My mind assaulted by maddening killing rule again, it is about 4 times more powerful than the one I felt in first circle, due to its immense assault on my mind that even my ears started to bleed, but I did not have time to care about that as all my mind concentrated on this stable killing rule. If let go my concentration on it, I don't think I will find it again, that is why I kept observing it. I want to comprehend this stable killing rule as I feel comprehending it will not warp my mind but it will make it stronger, and second reason me wanting to comprehend it because I felt this stable killing intent is stronger than this maddening killing intent. The more I kept observing it, the more I felt like I am understanding something, but it is too elusive and feeling of this stable killing intent is too weak. I will have to go closer again. Tap tap tap. I got up and walked into third circle. I was about to sit when this maddening killing rule assaulted me so heavily that I nearly lost control of myself. If not for me wholeheartedly holding on that stable killing intent, then I would really lose my mind and became mad. Entering the third circle proven very useful, as not only the power of maddening killing rules increased a lot but stable killing rules power increased a lot. While observing the stable killing rule, the pressure of maddening killing rule became slightly bearable and I was able to sit. Time passed by. I don't know how much time had passed, but as I was observing stable killing rule, a thought came in my mind, and that thought felt like the perfect piece to connect all elusive understanding I gained from observing the stable killing rule. I thought it will not affect me, but as I was so wrong, that thought had become a perfect piece to connect all the understanding I was able to gain through observing the killing rule, and that made me get a clear glimpse of rule of killing. Rule of killing. I thought with a sigh and my source shook. I was blank for a second, but when I come to myself and take a look at a strand of stable killing rule, it looked very clear, and with every gaze, I am understanding it even more and more and more. Seeing that, I turned very happy. I finally passed the biggest hurdle of comprehending the rule. I formed my own understanding about the killing rule while observing it, and this understanding now started to resonate with the stable killing rule, giving me a more clear look at itself to form a better understanding and comprehend it fully. Chapter 302 Memories. After forming my own understanding about killing rule, my understanding is started to resonate with stable killing rule, giving the more clear look of it. After getting a more clear look at killing rule, I started to understand it even faster pace, and he is forming his own understanding, not just taking it down as he saw it. Michael didn't know the way he is comprehending rule is very rare, and not even a single person here would be able to do that. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Most of the people comprehend rule the way see it, and only later they were able to form their understanding and make a change to it, and only those who are understanding is great would be able to make a change in rule, while those who are understanding of rule is not concrete enough would only comprehend as it is. There are many cons of comprehending the rule in one's understanding, but the most useful is that those who comprehend the rule with their own understanding are progressed at a very fast speed than own. As the rule is molded in their own understanding, they have better control over it, and at fights it became exceptionally useful as one can control a lot more accuracy than others. Tap tap tap. Hun. I took a step into the fourth circle. The maddening killing rule hit, but its force surprised me. It is not as Furies as I expected, it is still Furies but not enough to make me bleed. I thought for a reason and soon understood it. It is likely because I understood some meaning of killing rule. The more I understood the killing rule, the easier it will for me to bear the pressure. Sitting down, I again started to comprehend the rule. Currently, I am just a slight understanding of the rule. Comprehending it is still a little far, but I am confident that I can comprehend the rule before 3 days are over. Time passed by and my understanding of rule before became greater and greater. The assault of maddening killing rule on fourth circle had started to feel like a breeze, seeing that I took a step into the fifth circle where I assaulted by heavy maddening killing rule again. Zzzzzzz. As I was comprehending the rule, I didn't notice the slight vibration released by runes. That slight vibration is mark that 1 day is over, and now I only have 2 days left to comprehend the rule. Even if I had sensed the vibration, I would not have been worried, as I am more than confident that I can comprehend the rule in 2 days that are remaining. Unbeknown to Michael, there is change happening in his source. Beside his source there are several bloody red ribbons started to form, these ribbons very faint that even eyes could not see properly, but over time, these bloody ribbons are turning darker and darker. Sixth circle. I sat inside the sixth runic circle. In the sixth circle the strand of stable killing rule became even more clear. As I keep observing, the understanding of killing rule started to form inside in my mind. My understanding is based on this killing rule, but it is also different from it. As for how much different it's going to get, I will know it when I fully comprehend the rule. With passing time, my understanding of killing rule became greater, and I feel like I am very close to understanding the rule. I feel like if I got even more clear look at that stable killing rule, then it would be really soon. For that I have to go sit into seventh circle. Currently I am not ready to enter the seventh circle as my understanding is not high enough and would not be able to bear the assault, but in an hour or two, my understanding would become high enough that I would be able the assault of mad killing rule at seventh circle. Time passed by and I got a deeper understanding of killing rule that I am only a small distance away from comprehending rule of killing. When I entered the seventh circle, I again assaulted by heavy mad killing rule. It is more powerful than I thought, as I barely able to stop my mind from getting injured, but my nose, ears, and eyes started bleeding. I stood on my spot and wholeheartedly concentrated on comprehending the rule, as only then would I be able to ease the assault that is coming at me. Yes. I shouted loudly as I finally comprehend the rule of killing. It would have taken a few hours more, but an important understanding dawned on me which finally made me comprehend the rule of killing. The immense assault that I had been feeling till now quieted down. The assault of mad killing rule is still there, is just that now I had comprehended the rule of killing. Its assault just feel like a little nuisance. I can feel there is a big change happening in my source, but I can't look what change it is. All I can do is feel. If Michael could see inside his source, he will find a single blood-red ribbon is floating in the source. The ribbon looked quite genial and harmless, but when it flashed its edges, it could make anyone shudder. The rule of killing, but it is far from being complete. I felt like it is lacking something, that it is incomplete in some way. I have to fill that incompleteness of the rule that I've just comprehended, only then I will able to. It will be that I've started comprehending has started to take form, but it is far from complete. When I sensed it, I found it FEEP 00 PPP 00 LS incomplete. It is lacking something. Only when I complete it with what it is lacking, only then I would have killing rule that I've envisioned. I sat in the seventh circle and started comprehending again what I have just spec of the rule, which hasn't even entered in basic realm. The comprehension of rule is divided into 6 stages, which are basic, intermediate, advanced, master, grandmaster, and legend. Each stage further divided into 4 levels, which low, medium, high and peak, currently, my comprehension hadn't even reached low level of basic level. It is said that advancing rule stage is very difficult. Sometimes it would take years or decades just to advance a single level while others struck at the level they initially comprehended. I hope that my comprehension of the killing rule could reach the low level of the basic stage before my time is, but I know that is very, very difficult. It is difficult, but I will try to. I am not feeling much pressure at the 7th circle, but I did not dare to enter the 8th circle as the influence of objects of rule very high there. I can see a red streak of blood entering the 8th circle from the 9th. This 8th circle will be genuinely dangerous for me if I enter without high comprehension of the rule. I kept comprehending in 7th circle for hours before I started to feel there is no use of further staying. If I stayed here then it would only waste my time. I looked at 8th circle with apprehension as I could faint blood streak appear inside it now and then from the 9th circle. Finally making my eye stood up and looked at the 8th circle. I am feeling very fearful of that red streak, but I still decided to enter as only entering there will I able to make further progress in rule. Ah! As I step inside, I was attacked by a sensation that I've never in the past circle. Not only my mind is assaulted but also my body. I could feel the lacerating sensation all over my body and it is very painful. In this furious assault, I lost my grip on the stable killing rule that I have been comprehending from. I tried finding it again, but no matter how much I try, I wasn't able to find it again. Didn't get dejected and tried to find it again while this dense mad killing rule kept assaulting my mind and body continuously. Finding that stable killing rule is 100 times harder than finding a needle in a haystack. It was my luck that I come across that stable killing rule and use it comprehend the killing rule. I must have searched for an hour before giving up the search for that stable killing rule, but the lightning doesn't strike twice, I thought with a sigh. Seeing no other option available, I moved concentration toward mad killing rule, but I am very careful with this mad killing rule if it influenced me so much that it could potentially be warped the killing rule that I've comprehended. I tentatively touched the mad killing rule that is cascading down in my body and soul. When I observed it closely, I was both shocked and horrified seeing its intricacies. This rule has madness, craziness, but there is also so beautiful order inside it, and I decided to concentrate my mind on it. Seeing such beautiful order in such madness, something stuck in my mind, and that rule which felt incomplete is now complete. I was about to check how this rule of killing which formed with my own understanding when I felt everything in front of turning blank. When I see the light again, I found myself in a completely different environment. I was confused at first but soon understood what is happening, and that made ecstatic. Memories. I shouted out loud in my mind, the only wish people have after comprehending the rule is accessing memories of the original user. Sometimes these memories even more important than comprehending the rule. Chapter 303 Memories 2. Memories. One thing everyone wishes they could get after comprehending the rule are memories. Some people put more importance in memories than the rule, but it is very hard to get access to the memories. I can't believe I am in the memory of the totem artifact's owner. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity very few get, and it even more important to me seeing I am not from the central continent. It is said that to access memories one needs a very high level of comprehension. Only those with high comprehension would able to access hidden memories in totem artifact. It is said in the totem artifacts contain part of the soul of the user, and in this part of the soul is stored owner's rule comprehension and memories. The memory I am currently in seems some type of competition which looks very grand. West Blood City competition could not compare to it. In this memory, I am just host. I can see and feel everything that is happening around me but can't change anything since it is a memory. I am very happy and excited though, as I can feel every breath and twitch of muscle from the owner body. The reason I am excited is an incoming battle. I am excited to see how this owner of memories fought, and seeing how I can feel the smallest movement from the body. I hope owner used lots of skills in the battle. Normally it would have been quite difficult to get skill from this single look, but here it is possible as I will feel how the circulation skill happening in the owner's body like mine, and I just have to remember those circulations. This process will cut short from days of studying and experimenting to mere a few minutes if I am able to remember the circulations, which I am confident with my good memory. Michael didn't know yet, but he was going to swallow the pill of bitter disappointment for all his fantasies in just a few seconds. The owner reaches the center of the arena and stood in front of his opponent. His opponent, handsome tall boy in late teens compared to the owner who had average looks with the bulky physique. "Leon, I hope you don't disappoint me," said his opponent arrogantly, as beautiful long bow materialized in his hands. "You will not be disappointed," said the owner, and I felt some weird energy coming out of the owner's body which felt completely foreign to me. This foreign energy turned out of being owner's totem artifact, the pale white axe, which bore many similarities the while I've been comprehending from. Seeing both of them have summoned their artifacts, excitement inside me reached the peak. Training. The battle started, and in the next 3 seconds all my expectations of nabbing high-level skills and drowned in a sea of misery. The fight is too fast, all I can see is a blur. They are so fast that my eyes can't seem to track their movement. Not only that, the circulation of skills which I've been wholly counting on is too fast for me to see and memorize its path. When I tried to concentrate on it forcefully, I overcame with spitting pain that I do not want to do that ever again. They are way too fast, and on top of that, they are not fighting on the ground but in the sky. They are flying not on their ability but the shoe-type artifact that they wore. Seeing that, I can tell that their level is within the 12 basic stages, as after one broke through the 12 basic stages, he will gain the ability to fly naturally. I am very shocked seeing their battle, though it is very blurry due to the speed the owner is moving. Still, it made me quite shocked. The disappointment that I have been feeling due to not able to nab soon gone away as I watched the fight. Though it is very frustrating to not able to fight clearly, it is still quite enlightening, which made me see the difference. We are sky apart from those from the central continent. No wonder those people from central continent look down on us. They have the right to be. As I am watching the fight, a thought came into my mind. I can nab the skills, that doesn't mean I can't nab other things, but I have to take a risk for that. As I enter the memory, the first thing I did was isolate my mind from the outside interference, mainly from the rule of killing. I feared that with me in memory, the rule of killing will have close proximity with mind, and that mad killing rule would potentially warp my mind. I was so fearful that I didn't even let my mind touch the rule, but now after much thinking, I have come to know that this close proximity is very dangerous but also very useful as well. If I am careful enough, I can definitely comprehend rule of killing at a much faster speed, and if I am lucky then I may very well able to low-level comprehension of the basic stage. Gasp. With that thought in my mind, I opened my mind carefully and touched the rule of killing, but when my mind power touched the rule of killing, I am very shocked and couldn't help but take a huge gasp. When I touched the killing rule, I am very shocked to see that the killing rule of the owner is stable killing rule, which I have comprehended most of my killing rule from. Not only that, this rule at very low level, which is not a bad thing for me. This only means one thing. The owner must have experienced something very drastic and life-changing which made his stable killing rule changed into the crazed, madness-filled killing rule. I couldn't help but shudder when I thought about what life-changing event owner had experienced. Without wasting time, I put my whole concentration on comprehending rule. This killing rule of the owner must be at a peak level of the basic stage or low level of intermediate stage. Because it is at such a low level, I am having a much easier time seeing its intricacies, and I am comprehending the rule at rocket speed. If I kept comprehending RUL at this speed, then it wouldn't be a dream to reach my rule at a low level of the basic stage. Not only I am comprehending the rule, but I am also learning how to use rule kill seeing. It is much easier to see the usage rule than seeing the circulation path of the skill. I think it is because I have already comprehended the rule while I have no idea about the skill I tried to nab. Your comprehension has reached peak level of the basic stage, said owner's opponent with stuttering voice. He seemed really shocked by it. Till in the battle, the owner had hidden the true level of his rule comprehension and only used the full power of rule just a moment ago. When he gave his opponent long wound across his stomach, which is healing at a very slow pace despite him drinking the potion. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. That is happening due to the power of killing rule stopping its healing. Once the power to entering the body, it had to be countered by rule power or it will keep damaging body further and further. If there is a difference in rule power, then the battle good is lost. I can sense that the owner and his opponent are at the same stage and both have comprehended level 2 rule. The difference between them is rule of killing is more powerful than rule of bow that his opponent had comprehended, and top of that owner's comprehension is one level higher than his opponent. Owner's counterattack became furious after he revealed his full power. The wild axe with bloody red hue on it became so fast that his opponent had barely able to counter. The injuries kept piling on his body, till he couldn't counteract any more due to them. Bam! The owner used that chance to swiftly get close to him and used the butt of his axe to strike his opponent. The blow was so hard that his opponent lost consciousness directly. Crash! I was so excited and hoped that I will see future matches, but the reality is brutal as memory cracked like glass next second and I found myself back in the Rule Palace. Chapter 304 Memories 3 Fina. When I came back, I found myself back in the 8th circle, standing in the same position as before I entered the 8th circle. I close my eyes and calmly observe the rule I've comprehended, and to my surprise, my killing rule is really close to reaching low level of the basic stage. If I enter one more memory again, then there will be a 100% chance that I could comprehend rule to the low-level basic stage. Sigh. It will be very difficult. I can feel the power of totem artifact dimmed a little. It seemed what I heard is true. It is said memories guzzle soul power of totem artifact more that rule power ever could. There is barely enough soul power is left in the totem artifact, and now with me seeing memory from it, it guzzled even more soul power from it. These things are not within my control. I thought and sat down. It would be very good for me if I am able to see another memory, even if it cost whatever soul power left in totem artifact. There is only a 50% chance of my rule comprehension reaching a low level of the basic stage if I comprehend with normal procedure. Seeing there is no stable killing rule, I started to observe the mad killing rule carefully, as I know it could potentially warp my mind. But this mad killing rule is not all bad, as it helped me understand my own killing rule. It is from mad killing rule I got the final understanding that completed my killing rule. The killing rule I've comprehended not only have stability, but it also has slight madness in it, which in my understanding made it whole. To me, pure stable killing rule is not as good, as it did not have that spontaneity that mad killing rule has. With adding a little madness and stability, the lethality of this rule had reached a completely new heights. I can tell with 100% surety that power of my killing rule will definitely surpass both. I keep observing mad killing rule carefully, and comprehension kept getting closer and closer to the low level, but this speed comprehension is slow compared to when I was in memory. I wanted to experience the memory again, but it's not within my control. I was quite lucky to have experienced the memory before. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. ZZZZZZ. 2 days are over, I thought as I sensed the vibration through the runic circle. I have only days' time remaining in this rule palace. Before my time is over, I had to take my rule comprehension to the low level of the basic stage. As I kept comprehending through the mad killing rule, the assault I am feeling through it started to lessen as my comprehension grew higher. There is only one circle has remained, which is the 9th circle. It is a central circle which packed with most dense runes, and it is where the rule of object white axe is placed. I shudder whenever I looked at the faint bloody lines that come of white axe. I know the terror of them, as now and then some bloody lines enter 9th. Through most of its power is diminished when they enter the 8th circle. It still gives me a lot of pain whenever it touched my body. I barely able to survive against it. These lines are like a viper. They will attack at the weakest spot, and I had to give my all just to survive against it. I have no doubt, these bloody lines in the 9th circle would be 10 times more dangerous in the 9th circle. 9th circle is very dangerous, but it is also the best to place where I could comprehend the rule at a fast pace, will have a slight chance to access memories again. I thought for a long while and decided to take a risk of entering the 9th circle, but I will not enter right now. I will only enter when half day remains. That is when I will be prepared enough and would be able to take a step back if it was too much. Time passed by and half day over. My heart started to beat faster when I looked at the 9th circle. I calmed my emotions down and stood up. My gaze became resolute as I looked at 9th. Tap tap tap. After taking a few deep breaths, I took the steps toward the 9th circle. Aha! I screamed loudly, just as I took a step inside the ninth circle. I can feel that these bloody lines affecting my mind. Not only that, I can see, small injuries had started to form on my wrists. If I did not take a step back quickly, then I am sure my body going to be mutilated with unhealable injuries, and it could make my mind so damaged that I could turn into a vegetable. I had just lifted my leg to take a step back when I found scenery changing in front of me. Memory, I said ecstatically as I waited for my mind to be transported into the memory. When I came back to myself, I found I am in open ground and around me stood hundred-some people in their late teens wearing loose exercise clothes. Looking at the age of the owner, this memory seemed of the same year of memory of competition. In front of me is middle-aged man whose aura strong enough to make me kneel. I would have kneeled if it was a reality and not the memory of the owner. You all have reached peak of night grade, 12 basic stages, and are ready to break through with the inheritance crystal, said the middle-aged man. I will not bore you with details on how to use inheritance crystal properly, all you have heard it that from childhood. Today I am going to teach you all body cleansing technique, all 16 moves of them, said the middle age. Hearing that, excitement could be seen everyone's eyes when middle age mentioned that. The owners whose expressions were calm also started to fluctuate hearing body cleansing technique. As you know, before breaking out of night stage, you would need a clean body which does not have any foreign energy. Only then you will gain maximum physical strength after breath through, and inheritance can also merge with your body with maximum integration, said middle-aged man. All the young boys nodded. All the other techniques that you have been using till now, pale in front of the body cleansing technique, said middle-aged man. This time he sounds quite passionate, and the young people who are listening also nodded passionately to their instructor's words. Some of you must have known about the move of two about this exercise and have been practicing for quite a while, right? The instructor asked, and more than half the people nodded their heads. The owner is also one of them. You all know that usefulness of body cleansing technique, that even supreme level organizations made their members perform it before breaking through from night grade. Not only it helps one merge all the foreign energy into the body perfectly, but it also helps those gain unblemished body who had performed all 16 moves of this exercise, which became extremely helpful in future practice. But performing body cleansing technique is extremely hard. Maximum moves anyone in our organization able to perform is 7, that is not even half, said instructor in disappointed voice, but a hint of pride could be seen on his face. This body cleansing technique seems very hard, that even middle-aged instructor feeling proud of those who were able to perform only 7 moves. Alright, I will not waste any more of your time with my boring speech. All you need to know that those who will be able to perform 9 moves will able to get inheritance of their choice from the organization's treasury, no matter how expensive or precious it is, said middle-aged man. No one seemed surprised hearing that, but many shook their head in disappointment, thinking it is impossible to perform 9 moves of this exercise. Now, I will be performing all 16 moves of body cleansing exercise, remember it well, said instructor, and he started to perform the exercise. I looked at the instructor in full concentration, wanting to memorize it all. Instructor slowly started to perform the exercise. To my surprise, there were no weird movements, all the movements seemed quite simple. Instructor performed all 16 moves very slowly, and to perform that, it took him a little over an hour. I thought he would get quite tired by performing all 16 moves, as he was boasting how difficult it is, but when he performed it there was not a hint of tiredness appeared on his face, much less drop of sweat. One moment, I even doubted that all that he said were true or not, but I decided to reserve my judgment for some time, seeing all his pupils will be performing this exercise a few moments later. As for memorizing it, I had memorized 4 moves of it, and as for 5th move and ahead, I am not very confident. You guys try now. Those who will be able to perform 5 moves or more will get my personal guidance for a week, said instructor as he ordered his pupils to perform the exercise. Everybody started performing the exercise as soon as instructor ordered. First it seemed that this so-called body cleansing exercise is quite easy, but just 10 minutes later beads of sweat started to drop from everyone's body, and owner is no exception. Time passed by, and just half an hour later, the first boy collapsed. He was just able to perform the first move. With more time passing, more and more people started to collapse, and by the time an hour was over only 20 to 30 people left performing. Owner is also one of them. He had just performed 2 moves and is now performing the 3rd movement, but he already is at his limit. When I sensed what is happening at the cellular level at his body, I was blown away. This supreme cleansing exercise had made the body a furnace. Whatever foreign energy present in the body will burn in this furnace and then merge with the body. This merging is absolutely perfect with no flaws in it. Now I can see the reason for instructor boasting. This exercise helps him perfectly merge foreign energy into the body, and with every move, the furnace became hotter and hotter. This is a condition at only 2nd move. I can imagine how hot this body furnace will become after one circulated these exercises 16th move. The thing most shocked me about this exercise is that it is removing impurities from the body. I've never seen or heard able to do that. I would have considered these impurities just smell sweat if I had not had personal experience with them. My body had also cleaned of impurities when I had eaten that miracle fruit in the space realm more than a year ago. I still remember the heavenly feeling I felt after I had woken up and found my body free of impurities. They're the sky and earth difference between this body cleaning exercise and the Wind Slayer style I am performing to merge the hidden berserk energy in my body. That process seemed very defective in front of this process, and seeing this body cleansing exercise work, I started to feel that the berserk energy hadn't merged properly with my body and left some hidden dangers within. I will perform this exercise after I went back to my tent, I decided. The owner finally performed 3rd moves with the sheer power of will. When the owner looked around, he found only 4 people still performing while other people have collapsed. Thud. The owner kept performing 4th move with a sheer will, but when he reached halfway he finally reached his limit and collapsed on the floor tiredly amidst performing 4th move. To his surprise, he was the last one to collapse. This batch also has no one who could at least perform 5th move, said instructor disappointingly. Crack crack. That was the last thing I've heard before memory started to shatter like glass. Hun. I thought I would return at Rule Palace. To my surprise, I found I am completely different memory. The time the owner is sitting alone on runic circle and his hand had a blood-red crystal in which runes could be seen flashing every now and then. He seemed a little older now and slight traces of wisdom could be seen in his eyes. I've spent 2 long years and finally able to perform 9th move, a body cleaning exercise. Not only I have the cleanest body in the whole organization, and I even have got this inheritance which is best suited for those who had comprehended the rule of killing. I would have never dreamed about getting inheritance high level like this with my meager wealth, but with organization's promise, I was finally able to get it, said owner as he looked at blood-red crystal in his palm, and before I could process what he had just said, he crushed the crystal in his hand. What I saw next was the most magical scene of my life. The crystal that he touched turned into the string of crystalline runes which started floating around owner's body. Not only that, the runic circle he is sitting on also started to shine brightly. The body red runes revolve around his body for a few minutes before they were divided into 2 parts. One string of runes went into his chest while others went into his source. The bloody red runic string that went into his chest started to spread all over his body, while the one bloody red runic string that entered his temple had entered through his source. The source of the owner is different from mine. Instead of having big ball of fire which looked like the sun, he is a figure of human, and around it floating is denade string of bloody lines. Gasp. A gasp came out of my mouth when I looked at owner's source. There was no restriction here nor assault, just pure rule of killing that floating around. Seeing pure rule of killing just floating around without any restriction, I did not waste any time and attached my mental energy to started to comprehending the rule from it. I did not care about the magical process that is happening around the owner's body. What is important for me is pure rule of killing, which I could comprehend without feeling any obstructions. My comprehending speed skyrocketed and my comprehension got closer and closer, reaching low level of the basic stage. Buzz. Sometime later I felt buzz from my source, and as that buzz rang out in my mind, I felt my mind became clear and I am comprehending rule at an even faster pace. Crack crack. I reached it finally. My rule of killing reached the low level of basic stage, but memory started to crack and shattered soon after. I was left in blank again, but this time I am excited to see if I could return to Rule Palace or get to see another memory. Soon new memory appeared in front of me, but it is completely different from what I expected. Never in my dreams would I have thought that I would see such memory. This memory is showing intimate mate movement of owner life. He seemed to be with beautiful women who seemed to be in between 25 to 30 years old. Low moans and erotic movements, it's all I could see. It kept going on for a near hour that I couldn't help but marvel the stamina of owner. I don't want to watch the scene that is happening in front of me, as this was the personal moments, and what made it worse is that I am seeing it through the gaze of the owner. Crack, crack. Soon both of them climaxed, and only then cracks started to form in memory before it shattered. I hope that if I am going to see the memory next, it isn't that of the intimate moments of the owner. Soon next memory appeared in front of my eyes. This memory seems a lot older than others, as the owner seemed to be in his mid-30s. It is a stormy night. Heavy rain could be seen falling on the owner's body as owner sitting on the boulder. The shocking thing is, dead bodies are spread all around the owner, and looking at injuries on them, all of them seem to hacked by owner's sword. Each and every dead body have an expression of shocked and unwillingness on them, as they are shocked by something and unwilling to die. Suddenly owner looked up. I first didn't see anything but soon saw some dots, and sometimes later those dots turned to humans and they seemed to be flying toward the owner. The owner didn't seem very surprised seeing them coming toward him and slowly flew away to meet them. A group of 20-something people stopped in front of the owner with an old man and 60 at the head. Each and every one of them excluding aura that more terrifying than others, but the most horrifying aura is coming from the old man. The middle-aged man's aura, which I thought knee-bending, is nothing compare in front of this old man. Just because the simple mistake made by my son, for that you destroyed the organization built with my blood and sweat, said old man. Extreme sorrow could be seen on his face when he said. The owner didn't say anything, but horrified aura shot from his body, his aura one level below that of an old man, but that killing rule filled with madness shot from owner's body is really horrifying, sensing that even made old man change his expression. Peak second level rule is really something, said an old man, and the next moment he turned blurred as he comes toward the owner. Not only he, the 20-something people behind him also turned blur. Next minute was a complete blur. I couldn't see anything except for the blur of a different color. When everything calmed down, I saw new bodies around the owner, and these people also the same expression of shock and unwillingness on them. Slowly owner walked toward the old man, who seemed to have some life left in him. Your rule had reached Grandmaster level. It's no wonder we weren't able to last even minuet in front of you, said old while vomiting blood from his mouth. The owner didn't reply to the old man, just kept walking toward him. You will never be able to find my son. I have sent him far away that you will never able to find him, said an old man with a bloody smile. You won't live long either. Your killing had alarmed Wisdom Tower. They had already sent a team to kill you after you are dead. My son will be safe forever, ha ha ha, said an old man and started to laugh madly. Pasha. While the old man was laughing, the owner came close to him and swung his axe, decapitating old man in a single strike. Crack crack. I wanted to see what happened next, but my disappointment memory started to crack and shattered soon after. Everything in from me turned blank, and I started to wait for the next memory to appear, as I desperately wanted to know what happened next. But to my utter disappointment, I was transported back to the Rule Palace and object of rule, which emitting horrifying mad killing rule a few hours earlier, now lying dead in front of me. There was not a speck of killing rule coming from it. Now it looks like a normal white axe. It just became a normal axe which could be touched by anyone, but I still didn't dare to touch it, seeing it is still a high-level totem artifact which once wielded by a very powerful man. Chapter 3050. One day ago. In a spacious luxurious office, the beautiful teenage girl could be seen sitting on the chair, and at front her are hundreds of screens could be floating. There are about 237 screens to be exact, and showing each hall of Rule Palace. If Michael would have been here, he would have clearly recognized this girl. It is the same extremely beautiful girl that he had encountered in Region 8. There were two girls there, cute younger one and the extremely beautiful older one. This girl sitting in a luxurious office is beautiful elder one. She leisurely sitting on the chair, but her eyes are sharp as she looking at specific screen. Click. Soon a door opened and a young cute girl around 15-year-old walked into the office. He would have remembered this girl more clearly, as she is the girl who had killed the lieutenant-grade monster. How was your patrol duty? asked beautiful elder girl to young girl. Not bad, replied young girl with a fake serious face, but one could tell that from her expression that she had had a lot of fun instead of the dull day which she trying to convene. Caught her lie, beautiful elder girl raised her eyebrow in question. Care to explain? The beautiful girl asked the young girl. Hearing this question, the young threw away her serious facial expression, seeing she seen through, and smiled brightly. This smile of her is so cute that even beautiful girl wanted to come closer and pinch her younger sister's cheeks. I've had more fun than I thought I would have, young girl excitedly. I've got to beat those who dare to break the rules. There are areas of lot troublemakers out there, said young girl exasperations. Beautiful nodded seriously hearing, but she trying her all to control her laugh. If her little sister saw her laughing, then she would get really angry. Anything interesting? Asked young girl motioning toward the screens as she comfortably sat on the sofa. Yes, there is something little interesting, said beautiful and tap a few buttons in her holowatch. Look, said beautiful girl as she enlarged one screen to big size. On the screen there is a big hall, same as Michael entered to comprehend rule of killing. The only difference is that instead of axe in the center of concentric circles, there is goblet of fire, and people could see sitting in every layer of the circle. Unlike the hall where Michael had comprehended rule of killing, where he was the only one present. It's not like people did not enter the hall, seeing it as peak second level rule. Many people had entered it, but all of them left sometime later sensing terrifying mad killing rule, fearing it will warp their minds. At first glance young girl did not spot anything interesting in the hall, but some time later she spotted something which made her shout loudly in shock. Is that birdie crazy? Shouted out young girl as she spotted palm-sized bird which seemed to be bathing in the fire in a goblet of fire. Anyone in her place would have been shocked seeing this. That goblet of fire is not normal goblet of fire. That goblet of fire is king grade totem artifact, and those deep yellow flames contain peak master stage rule power of sun fire. Although there is the only fraction of rule power left in it, it is enough to burn young girl into the ashes. That little birdie is bathing in sunfire rule for more than a day and had already comprehended rule of sunfire at low level of the basic stage in just a day, and she is still comprehending at a very fast pace. The beautiful girl added. Young girl shocked hearing this. Her own rule power had reached mid-level of basic stage and very close to high level of the basic stage. She knows how difficult it is to advance every level of rule power. She who had access to the best resources in the world that very few could compare to still had to work very hard to advance her comprehension where it is now. Advancing every level of rule is very difficult. It can be said that advancing each level is 10 times harder than the previous level. There is a very famous saying in Central Continent about rule that comprehending rule power is very easy but advancing is very hard. This saying is very true. Some people who comprehend the rule find it very hard to advance it. Anything else? Asked a girl after she got enough to look little bird. There is nothing much. Many people have been able to comprehend third and second level rule. One is even able to sync his soul with totem artifact and watches its memories, said beautiful girl dully. Beautiful girl finding all this quite normal, even dull. The only thing that caught attention was a little bird bathing in sunfire. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience. Please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. She is from Supreme Level Organization. There are not many things in here which could make her gasp in astonishment. It cannot be said for her little sister who had just started her journey. There are still many things that piqued her interest. The one who's able to sync his soul with totem artifact quite lucky. Finding soul which could sync with other soul is quite difficult, remarked young girl. To view the memories, one not only needed high comprehension but also need his soul to sync with others. Only then one would be able to view the memories, that as it happens very rarely. Well, I am off to sleep. I have to do this guard duty for the whole week as grandfather asked, said young girl as she got up from the sofa and walked toward another door. Michael had finally come out after going through all the memories, but it still took him some time to calm himself down. When looking around, he was shocked to see there was no assault of killing rule on his body and soul. The axe which covered in thin bloody lines and was excluding the horrifying killing rule now just lying there like a normal axe with not a shred of killing rule coming from it. It now looked like some fancy axe and nothing more. Seeing it just lying there, a slight feeling of greed arose in my heart. This axe has lost all its rule power, but it still is high-level totem artifact. I shook furiously at that thought. The axe may seem just lie there, but I can feel there is all sort of restrictions placed on it, and I tried to lift it forcefully. Then, I will have to pay a hefty price. When I look at my watch, I was quite surprised to find that there are less than 15 minutes till 3 days are over. Seeing there is nothing left for me in this hall, I walked toward the exit and soon entered the corridor. Hun. A surprised sound came out of my mouth when I found a crystal card had appeared in my hand unknowingly, and it had the same aura as me. I was surprised at first seeing it appear in front of me suddenly, but I soon remembered what it is. It a type of hall ticket for the entrance exam of Wisdom Tower. Everyone received it as long as they were able to comprehend the rule. Getting a crystal card is quite common. What is important is what number did one get. Gasp. Without waiting, I quickly started to pour my mana inside it, and soon numeric 2 is projected out of card, and seeing this I became quite shocked and then very happy. The card one receives can project 0 to 5 number. These numbers are denoted one's potential and how difficult their test would be getting into the Wisdom Tower. 5 means one has the West potential and will have to face quite difficult tests to get into the Wisdom Tower, while 0 is the Thest potential, which makes one directly a member of Wisdom Tower. Those who got number 5 and 4 have near 0 chance to get into the Wisdom Tower, while those who get number 3 had a very small chance. As number 2, he will have to give his all to get into it, and for 1 he will get in as long as he made good preparations. I carefully put away this card in the pocket as being hall ticket of Wisdom Tower's test, that not its only use. This card had many more uses. Chapter 306 Imprinting Rule. Ashlyn will come out soon, I thought as I looked at the Sunfire sigil. She and I entered the hall with just a few minutes difference, so she should come out in a minute or two. It's been a little more than 10 minutes since I've come out, but till now, I have only seen 4 new people enter the rule place, while only 1 came out of hall comprehending the rule. The test is very tough, that even super elites have slight chance to succeed, much less other people. I hope all my friends were able to enter the rule palace to comprehend the rule. After seeing the memories, I have learned many things, and I know how important the rule power is. I have already seen Kevin, which I had not expected to see. I hope that Ellen also had received the news and her organization had also sent her here. As for Jill and her brother, I am sure they would have received the news. They had entered the Minerva realm at the same time as me. Choo-choo. I was busy in my thoughts when I heard familiar chirp, only to see Ashlyn flying toward me with crystal card in her beak. She threw the card in my palm and landed on my shoulder with familiar ease. Did you comprehend the rule, Ashlyn? I asked as I lovingly massaged her feathers. Right after I asked this question, I felt sundering fire spreading in my body. I felt like this fire is so powerful that it could reduce me into nothingness, leaving nothing behind. The sundering sensation went away as it came, but it made me sense what level it is at. Good girl, I said ecstatically as I massaged her feathers more lovingly. I am very happy right now, as I could feel that Ashlyn's rule comprehension is way above mine. It is quite close to reaching mid-level of the basic stage. Suddenly a thought came into my mind, and just as it came, I wasn't able to control my mind for quite a while. Let's go, you must be feeling quite hungry, right? I said to Ashlyn, and walk out of Rule Palace. This time, I did not walk toward the small houses, instead decided to walk down the mountain. I could stay in a small house, but I have checked out of it within 3 days, so it would be better if I went directly back to my tent. It would take me a little more than an hour to reach my tent. There is no pressure while descending the mountain. While descending, I look around if I could see anyone familiar. I am now having a huge urge to show off, and I could only show off in front of those who are familiar with me, but my luck was bad that I didn't see anyone. It took me a little more than half an hour to descend from the mountain. When I was climbing the mountain 4 days ago, it took me more than half a day, and I was barely able to do that. In half an hour I reached my tent from the base of the mountain. After entering my tent, first thing I did was to head to the bathroom, as I was controlling my bodily functions for 3 days. I started to feel quite stuffed because of that, and will only feel good when I take all that load out. It was 40 minutes later did I came out. Not only did I unload all the load I had on my body, but I also took a good shower. After bathing Ashlyn, I started to cook. I am feeling very hungry and tired right now. I would have directly slept after coming out of the bathroom if I didn't feel this hungry. Soon the dinner was ready and we both started to eat in frenzy as both of us are quite hungry. After cleaning the plates, I calmly laid on the bed and closed my eyes. Sleep took me within seconds. My sleep was long and dreamless. When I woke up from it the next morning, I felt quite refreshed. After showering eating lunch, I sat on my bed quietly in deep thinking. I am thinking about a particular memory of the owner, the one where he was using inheritance crystal. That time I had sensed many things that shocked me, but I decided not to think about back then as owner's source was open wide without any restriction and I was wholly focused on comprehending the rule in owner's source. But I was still unknowingly able to learn a few things and this is one of them. I closed my eyes and took a couple of deep breaths. After finding I am sufficiently calm enough, I started to enter my source. Entering in the source is extremely difficult, especially to corporal stage evolver like me, but I found a way in memory. I failed the first time, the second time, third time and so on, but I kept trying and finally, I was able to find a way to my source. My source is the same as last time I saw it, the only difference is that now there is long bloody ribbon is floating around it. The ribbon is blood red and had little bloody glow around it. It looks quite harmless and elegant as it floated around the source, but when one's eyes fell on its edges, one would not help but shudder uncontrollably. Those edges of ribbon looked extremely sharp that it can cut through anything like a hot knife cuts through butter. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience. Please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. My killing rule is a form of ribbon different from the owner, which is in the form of extremely fine threads. Everyone's rule had different representation, they will vary a little even if the understanding is the same. I heaved a sigh of relief seeing I can enter the source. Now it's time to try the important thing. Ashlyn, enter inside me, I asked Ashlyn as she lazily lying on her stomach to digest the food. She looks at me for a second but then entered inside me seeing my serious face. Seeing Ashlyn entered inside me, I closed my eyes again and started to enter the source. I failed the first time but successful in the second time. I looked at my source intently to try to feel a connection with Ashlyn's source. Both of our sources are connected. What I wanted is to enter her source through mine and comprehend rule of sunfire from it. I wanted to hide rule of killing if possible. I want to make it my trump card to use in last moment. Having a trump card is like having a second life, and having trump card like peak second level rule will be very deadly. Ah. I soon caught the connection to the Ashlyn source and used it to reach her source, but in that process, I felt a huge pressure on my mind that I couldn't help but scream. Only after I bear that immense pain for a minute did I able to reach Ashlyn's source. In the center of Ashlyn is a huge bird made of fire, but that is not the most interesting thing. The most interesting thing is feather plum made of dark yellow and silver fire, for which I had entered the Ashlyn source. It looked amazing, even the most beautiful work of art couldn't compare to it. When I looked at that fiery feather plum, I felt my whole body will burn to nothingness. That fiery dark yellow and silver feather plum is rule of sunfire that Ashlyn had comprehended, and it is halfway in reaching mid-level of the basic stage. I wanted to comprehend the rule of sunfire, hope it would not take me more than 3 days to get basic comprehension over it. I looked at it tentatively and carefully touched it with a strand of my mind power, hoping this rule of sunfire won't burn my mind power, but what happened next was way out of my expectations. I had never imagined in my wildest dreams something like that will happen. As my mind power touched the fiery dark yellow and silver feather plum, the understanding of rule started to transmit in my mind. Its speed was so fast that I am barely able to understand it before it forcefully stuffed inside my mind. I have no control over this process as I became immobile. All I could feel that understanding of rule of sunfire being transmitted my mind, and it started to take shape in my source. I had never thought this would happen in wildest dreams. I thought I would slowly comprehend rule of sunfire in the pace of few days, but now seeing the speed of which understanding is forming in my mind, it would barely take minutes. This is the comprehension of Ashlyn that being copied in my source. I hope that Ashlyn's comprehension won't lessen because of this. When I looked at fire plum with difficulty, I found that is the same as before with no change in it, seeing that great burden had loosened my mind. This process of copying understanding gone for few minutes before stopping, and I can feel the rule of sunfire in my source, and with its understanding imprinted in my mind, I feel like this rule I've comprehended on my own, not copied from Ashlyn. Aha. I wanted to see how the rule of sunfire look in my source when I felt blinding headache in mind. The headache is fierce that I barely able to think what is happening, but as time passed, I started to feel familiar sensation in Ashlyn's source. Only to see familiar blood-red ribbon started to form in Ashlyn's source. This completely shocked me out of my mind. First, I am already having difficulty thinking about how I am able Ashlyn's comprehended rule of sunfire in my mind, but now my rule of killing is being imprinted in Ashlyn's mind. I could tell that when I entered Ashlyn's source, she was watching me and probably saw how I extended mind power to the fire plum. Before I overcame with blinding headache, I had felt that something had touched my rule of killing, but before I could see what it is, I started to feel this blinding headache. That must be Ashlyn, who used her mind power to touch my rule of killing just like I did with her rule. Time passed by, I felt headache recede and rule of killing had also formed in Ashlyn's source. Her ribbon is little different from mine, it is blood red and has sharp edges like mine, but it is short in length and had more blood fog surrounding it than mine. The feeling it gave is nearly the same with just a slight distinction. Others would not be able to notice this slight distinction, but I did, as this rule is comprehended by me. The headache had finally stopped and I am about to go back to my source to check the newly imprinted rule of sunfire when I suddenly felt very tired and lost consciousness immediately. Chapter 307 Actualizing. When I woke up, it has already been an evening. I had slept for a whole day and I stiffening a little tired. That rule imprinting took a lot out of me, but I am not disappointed as I am more than happy to get another rule, and this rule's comprehension is way above mine. The rule of killing I am comprehended is at low level of the basic stage. I will need a lot of comprehensions to advance it to the mid stage, but Ashlyn's rule of sunfire is already halfway into mid-level. The advancing every level of is 10 times more difficult than the previous, and advancing a stage is even more difficult. I sat cross-legged on the bed and closed my eyes to enter my source. This time I entered inside my source space at first chance. Inside my source is big fireball like sun, and revolving around it is blood red ribbon and yellow and silver fire feather plum. It looked nearly the same as Ashlyn's, but if one looked carefully then one will see the slight differences between them. The first is yellow fire on feather plum is a little darker than that of Ashlyn, and feather plum is also slightly pointier than the Ashlyn's. I look at it for quite a while. I withdraw my consciousness after I checked every point of my source space. I am still quite tired due morning's rule imprinting cordial and wanted to sleep again. Rule imprinting must have taken some of my soul energy as well as mind power, that is why I'm feeling this sleepy. Soul of those at night stage, 12 basic stages, are quite fragile. A little strain on it could make irreversible damage. Though rule imprinting took just a minute amount of my soul energy, it still made me quite tired that I just wanted to sleep. Ashlyn, on the other hand, looked normal. It looks like rule imprinting had made no effect on her. Like me, her soul energy also used, but for some reason, it did not affect her. I shook my head and removed those thoughts from my head. I have already known that this little birdie is little different from her other monsters, be it her intelligence or comprehension is way higher than other monsters. Not to forget her ability to smell the treasures like miracle fruit and mystic medicine. If I were to think about that, then I will make my head hurt uselessly, as I didn't have any answers. The best choice is to leave it be. I will know it when the time is right. I heated the leftover of the morning and ate with Ashlyn. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Choo choo choo. Ashlyn chirped as I am about to prepare for sleep. She wanted me to open a tent for her so she could fly outside. Okay, I said, and opened the tent, a form which could easily get out and get in. If it was 4 days ago, I would have said no, despite knowing that it is quite safe outside for both monsters and humans, as this realm is devoid of any monsters, only monsters present in this realm that are brought by humans. There would have been a slight danger to her before, but now she has the power of Sunfire peak second level rule. Now injuring Ashlyn is very hard. Choo choo. She flew out of tent excitedly while I laid on the bed to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I found the small weight on my chest. When I looked up, found it as Ashlyn. I was quite surprised to see that. When she daily used to sleep on my chest, but as grew older she started doing that less and less. Now she only does that once in a while. I gently lifted her and placed her on the bed softly, not wanting to disturb her. I silently went to the bathroom to do my morning activities and shower. When I got out of the shower, I found Ashlyn sitting on the small hope of the tent that I opened yesterday for her to get out and get in. I cooked lunch quickly, which she ate, and after taking some rest before flying away outside. I also wanted to go outside as I had a lot of things to, but before that I have some important things to do. In the memories, I have seen and felt a lot of things, and from that, I gain immense harvest, such as how to use the power of rule effectively in combat. All I would get is basic. I would have learned more if not everything is too fast for me to see and feel. Whatever I learned is from when everything turns to normal speed. I stood in the center of the tent and started to practice what I have learned from the memories. Time passed by and the whole day passed unknowingly as I keep training like mad. Choo-choo. Fuck. I only came to myself when I heard chirp from Ashlyn, and when I take a look at the condition of the tent, I couldn't control myself and cursed. The tent is damaged beyond repair, hundreds of tear and scorched marks could be seen on it. The bed which I had used to sleep had now turned into pieces. While training, I intentionally controlled myself. I would not have trained today since this is not the right place, but I still did fear I will forget something. This tent can even contend against a few attacks of Lieutenant Stage Monster, but now with my slight training. It had damaged beyond repair. It's good thing that I had few night grade tent in my storages which I had found in the half in my journey to this awakening ground. I had actualized pretty much everything I had learned in the memory except for body cleansing technique, which I want to give a trying day before I leave this realm. I am feeling quite excited with my new strength that I am having a hard time controlling myself, as I just wanted to get out this awakening ground and test my strength against monster and people that dare to cross me. I changed the tents and shower, heated food of the morning which we ate till we are full. After that, I laid on the bed to sleep while Ashlyn again went outside. Let's go, Ashlyn. I said as I picked Ashlyn in my hand and get out of my tent. This is a new day which I plan to solely give for shopping. I am going to sell all the sellable stuff I have with me. I am not even going to leave night grade artifacts that I am wearing. The fair is offering many things that are very expensive in West Blood, and something are not even available in West Blood. My priority is going to be at least one totem artifact, few mid-level night grade skills, and most importantly books. I hope the money I will get from selling all the things I have will be enough to buy things that I am wanting to buy. Chapter 308 Argument. I left my tent with Ashlyn, who was in my hand now flew onto my shoulder a few minutes ago. Compared to when I entered, there are now more than 10 times tents are here, and all of them from the Republic. I am currently not going toward the fair but walking toward Nigel and Billy's tent. They had given me direction to their tent when we were attempting the test. Empty. When I reached the place, there are 2 tents with same details 2 to them had mentioned, but when I knocked on them, a screen popped out in front of me telling it is empty. They are either out or still attempting the test, I thought as I walked toward fair. As I walked toward the fair, I saw more and more people from the Republic. When I first entered this realm I rarely saw people from the Republic, and now they are everywhere, but our numbers are still less than those from the central continent. For us to reach the awakening ground, we have to cross the whole 9 region, which is no less than 9 circles of hell for those below lieutenant stage, but people from the central continent have a direct entrance, so it is understandable they have huge numbers. If we also had a direct entrance, our numbers would also be great. Soon, I reached the fair and directly walked toward the selling point set up by Wisdom Tower. There is a small line as lots of people wanted to sell their stuff for wisdom credits, so they could buy stuff. My number soon came and I unload all the stuff I have. I even took out high-level night grade storage as most of my stuff was stored there. Those front the Wisdom Tower showed no reaction to my storage, but I heard some gasp around me. Hearing those gaps, look of contempt appeared on those from Wisdom Tower. I sold nearly everything I have, the mana crystals, artifacts, and other things I got on the way. I even sold artifacts I am wearing and extra storage which I was going to give to my parents. Soon they transferred the wisdom credits to me and walked out of the shop. There are thousands and thousands of shops in Fair. Most of the people who are selling stuff are from the central continent. The things which are very rare in the Republic is just lying there, like high-grade storage, which is a high-grade commodity in Republic and only organizations have, is just lying there on many shops. So are the totem artifacts. It is very rare for people to have them as they are insanely expensive, and those totem artifacts that sold in the shops in the Republic are the worst quality, made by average materials. Here every totem artifact here made by better material than that of the Republic. It is worth buying it even if it is a low-grade one. I am not in a hurry to buy anything. I first wanted to roam the whole fair and check the prices on things that I want to buy before buying anything. As I browse the fair, watching colorful and mystical objects to totem artifacts that will make one gasp in wonder. Looking at all these totem artifacts, I couldn't help but wonder which grade the fiery red sword that I have. I planned to appraise it as soon as I saw some good trustworthy appraiser. I initially wanted to appraise it from Jim, but I don't think our chances of the meeting is high and I am dying of curiosity, so I decided to check it here. I was browsing through the shops when I spotted someone familiar. I decided to call out to her, but when I saw that she is having a heated argument with her boyfriend, I decided against calling her and decided to walk toward different way. Michael. I had just taken a few steps when I heard my name called by the familiar voice. When I looked toward her, I found she is walking toward me with her boyfriend in tow. It is Rhea, and beside her is her boyfriend, who clearly seemed to be in a very bad mood. Michael, it's nice to see you here, said Rhea happily as she gave me, seeing that her boyfriend glowered at me, clearly warning me not hug his girlfriend. Yeah, such a nice surprise, I replied. As for Rhea's boyfriend, I just gave him a plain smile and hugged his girlfriend, which made him glowered at me even more, and he started to oppress me with his peak specialist stage aura. Idiot. I said in my mind, this aura would have been able to frighten me if I was still that peak specialist stage evolver in West Blood. Much less now with me having rule power. He wouldn't be my match when I had just leveled up to the corporal stage 2 weeks ago. Any luck with Mountain? I asked as I motioned toward the mountain where thousands of people could be seen taking the test. Yes, I was lucky enough to climb it, said Rhea. When she said this, her smile couldn't be any brighter, and her boyfriend beside her became even more sullen. Seeing his face, one can easily tell that he had no luck with the mountain. Find authorized novels and webnovel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. I am not that surprised seeing her answer. After spending nearly 2 weeks with her, I knew she had enough willpower to bear the mental pressure. As for physical pressure, one didn't need to create 2 amethyst seals. There are other options. I was quite idiot that before attempting test, I hadn't done my research extensive enough, as I just recently come to know that there are some medicines that could enhance one's physical prowess enough that they help one endure highest physical pressure that Mountain can give. Those are forbidden medicine with some side effects, but they still better. As long as one have high willpower and drink that medicine, one will have chances to cross the mountain. You, Michael, do you have any luck with the mountain? Asked Rhea. Don't, Rhea. How a puny corporal grade has the physical strength and much less mental fortitude to climb the mountain? Chimed Rhea's boyfriend as he patted my shoulder hard. If I was normal initial corporal grade evolver, I would have felt quite a pain from this normal-looking pat, but regretfully I am not some normal initial corporal grade evolver. Of course Lady Luck had also shined on me, I said with a bright smile, and before Rhea's boyfriend could lift from my shoulder, I sent an extremely small strand of sunfire in his hand through my shoulder. Ah! A loud shout came out from Rhea's boyfriend's mouth as he fell on the floor. I looked at him in surprise. I had attacked him with an extremely small strand of sunfire. I would not have thought it would be so painful to him. Reacted, this boy's willpower is really low. The stand I had just released right now is comparable to what one will face when he stood in front of Sunfire Sigil in Rule Palace. Guards in aqua blue were coming toward us, but seeing all is fine and Noah's complaining to them, they turned back and left. I am sorry, I am still not able to control this rule power properly. I fake apologized to her boyfriend. Rhea, who is smart enough to understand what happened, as she glared at her boyfriend before looking at me apologetically. Don't apologize, it's him who should apologize, said Rhea as she looked at her boyfriend in askance. Why should I apologize to this puny corporal grade? he said angrily looking at me. And you, Rhea, ever since you had comprehended the rule, you started to think you are above me, but in my eyes, you are still a bitch who followed behind me just to gain my favor," said her boyfriend angrily and walked away. I am quite shocked hearing this but soon shook my head at that boy's idiocy. I am sorry for what he said. Ever since he failed the test, he is being quite angry. Rhea apologized. "It's nice meeting you, Michael. I will give you a call after we returned home," she said, ran toward her boyfriend. Anger apparent in her eyes. I don't think their relationship will last more than this day. No women with pride will accept such words. Chapter 309 Shopping. After Rhea left angrily toward her boyfriend, I kept strolling the fair. There are many interesting things are sold here. Some are interesting enough to make me gasp in astonishment. Interestingly, I spotted some familiar faces. Some of them were people who participated in Westblad City competition, while others I've seen them here and there, but except for Rhea, I didn't see anyone which I know personally. As I was strolling, a stall projection caught my eye. Appraise. I can appraise anything as long as it is within night grade. Well, sound quite confident. I have been searching for a good appraiser for some time to appraise the red sword that I have found. The shop had nothing except for signboard projection and simple table and chair. Behind the shop is the good-looking green-haired boy who seemed about 16 years old but at the mid-level of master stage. I am not surprised seeing his level, as almost all who came Central Continent is all same as him. Other than having better resources than us, there is another reason for that. The people from the Central Continent bond with their monster year earlier than us. They bond with when they are 15 while we bond at 16. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. "Friend, how can I help you?" asked the boy as I stood in front of his shop. "I want to review this," I said and handed him the red sword from my storage. 100 credit please, said green-haired boy as he took the sword from my hand. "What? 100 credits, why don't you just rob me?" I said out loud. 100 credit, which he said means 100 wisdom credits, which are equal to the 100,000 republic credits. He is asking for way too much money just for a little appraising. I have seen many appraising shops in the fair that hasn't taken more than 50 credit, and now this green-haired boy asking me to pay double. Did he think my screw is so loose that I will pay him that much? Friend, other shops may take less money than this, but they are not as good as me. I dare to say that in this whole awakening ground no is better than me except for those from Wisdom Tower, said green-haired boy as he pats his chest in confidence. I was going to take my sword from his hand and leave, but hearing a confident voice I decided to give him a chance and with gritting teeth paid him, hoping I wouldn't regret my choice. "Don't worry, friend, you won't be disappointed paying me," said green-haired boy as if sensing my inner dilemma. He didn't speak further as he closed his eyes while holding the red sword in two of his hand. He kept his eyes closed for a few seconds before opening. Then, "Friend, your sword is quite good. It is fire-type mid-level night artifact. It has 3 enhancements in which the only one unlocked while the other 2 are still locked," he said. I am shocked. Completely blown out of my mind. I had never thought that this red sword grade is so high. Night grade refers to all 12 basic stages, but in the terms of totem artifacts, the distinction is a little different. In totem artifact, night grade refer to Michelle stage, which is the highest stage of 12 basic stages. If it was left behind by general stage evolver, then he would have said it is 11th grade artifact, and these stages further divided into the 5 sub-level, which is low, mid, high, and excellent. That means this artifact is left behind by martial grade evolver, and mid-level is quite good. Even low level would have been fine seeing it is night grade artifact. The 3 enhancement he mentioned which mentioning are attacked booster, with enhancement my attacks will receive boosts. The boosts will probably for fire type attacks as this sword is made of fire type materials. Are you sure? I asked him again as I am still not quite able to believe that this is such high level artifact. Yes, a friend, I am sure. I have never been wrong in my judgment, especially when it comes to things below night grade, he said with a serious face. Thank you, I said as I took back my sword from. Feel free to visit my shop again, friend, shouted green hair boy seeing me leaving. I was still happy quiet for quite a while. thinking how lucky I am to get this artifact. Night grade artifact of any level is insanely expensive. I will need more than 20 times the money I have to buy night grade artifact. In this whole fair, I have not seen more than 10 night grade totem artifacts for sale, though I've heard that all totem artifacts that guards against Wisdom Tower has are night grade. Choo choo. I have to say this best day for both me Ashlyn. I am happy because I've gotten to know I have night grade artifact and she is happy because she got to tens of snacks. These snacks are really delicious and some of them are not even available in the blood and some of them are very expensive. Especially that damn candy which Ashlyn fell in love with, it orange-yellow color candy known as enamored candy. It is damn expensive. It cost 5 wisdom credit apiece, which is 5,000 Republic credit just for single candy. Not only Ashlyn, but many other monsters have also become crazy for that candy, as this candy is especially for monsters. I even saw some monsters attack their partners as they refused to buy that candy for them. I had earlier rejected to buy that candy for her and she chirped so loud in my ear that I had to admit defeat and buy it for her. Every time I buy that candy for her, I felt like my hair burning as Ashlyn did not get satisfied with just one candy. After roaming the fair, I walked toward the center of the fair to see the advertising boards. There are thousands of screens protected here showing the offer for all that's sold at the fair. Here anyone can sell their stuff or buy with giving some small commission to Wisdom Tower. I have already roamed the whole fair and saw the rates of all the goods that sold there, so, now at the advertising board, I can easily buy them without feeling cheated. As I stood in front of the advertisement board, I typed my requirement for the totem artifact that I want to buy. I am planning to buy a shoe-type totem artifact. My fighting type more inch towards speed and swiftness, so having shoe-type totem artifacts will help a lot to me in combat. I tapped enter as finished putting up my requirement. Next moment result had appeared in front of and I am quite shocked seeing the no of the result. I thought I would get 1,000 or a maximum of 2,000 results, but I am surprised to find there are 11,000 results. Seeing I didn't have time to see all the searched, I made my requirement strict as possible. Earlier I had stretched my requirement thinking I will not much result, but seeing so many result appearing, now I don't have to stretch my requirements. Soon the next result came and there are 87 of them. I started to scan through these 87 results to get best totem artifact that is based on me. Due to constraints of budget, the totem artifact that is low grade, but it is fine by me seeing my current stage. I wouldn't be able to bring out the full power of even lowest grade totem artifact, much less a high grade one. After going through all 87 offers, I selected 4 totem artifacts that I like. I finally made my choice after carefully going over details of all the totem artifact. They look like casual white sneakers that one wear every day. This shoe type totem artifact of peak level lieutenant grade, the lowest one, but it is fine by me. The speed enhancement give is normal. The reason I brought this artifact because it offers high stability in the air, so if it is perfect for taking sky jumps. 5 minutes after I paid, I saw drone coming toward me. Soon drone stopped in front of me and its robotic arms handed me the box which has well sneaker before flying away. I really want to try my sneaker, but I control myself seeing I have so much to shop. Next thing on my agenda, buying mid-level skills only if they caught my eye as mid-level could be brought in West Blood, so I will buy them if they are relatively special. The other thing, at my current stage mid-level skills will not be able to show much might. As night grade skill they can be used by anyone, but they could only bring out their most when used by certain stage evolver. If corporal stage or sergeant stage were to use mid-level skill, its power only be comparable to average low-level night grade skill, so mid-level night grade skill could bring out its most if it was used by corporal stage or above evolver. There is a certain exception, like I've heard that super elite who are peak sergeant stage can also use mid-level skill at their full might. I had spent nearly 2 hours buying skills. I brought 3 mid-level night grade skills which are strength, speed and offensive type skills. All 3 of these skills are very good, otherwise, I would not have brought them as I could buy them at West Blood. After buying skills, I was about to move to my next shopping item when a thought came to my mind and I searched it immediately. Next moment only 533 results showed. I again filter them to 7. After reading the details of the 7, I brought 2 skills. Both of them are the same, the only difference between them is that one is low-level night grade skill and other mid-level night grade skill. This skill has always been the core of skills organizations and is not available outside to buy, but know where I had brought them. Many people had been jealous when people from organizations use this skill, but they won't have to anymore, as I am sure many people from the Republic already had brought these skills here. With artifacts and skill, I had spent half of the money I got from selling all my stuff. Now the only thing remaining is books, which I plan to spend the rest of my credits on. Chapter 310, Leaving Awakening Ground. The only thing which remains to buy now is books. I want to buy books on tens of topics such as runes, totem artifact, rules, and other subjects. I even want to buy some books for my father. He hadn't been able to do his research properly as did not have high-level information as a reference. I just hope they didn't put up restrictions on some information. In Republic some information has restrictions. One can only access such information after he reaches a certain level. As I kept buying books, I became very happy to see that there are no restrictions on whatever types of books I buy, and all these books are trustworthy since all of them sold by the Wisdom Tower. It took me hours to buy all the books I needed despite having already made list. It was quite late at night and I am feeling quite hungry. It was a good thing that Ashland's was quite full due to eating tens of snacks the whole day that let me shop in peace, otherwise I first would have had to feed her before continuing shopping. Nearly all the money I got from selling my stuff spent shopping in these few hours, leaving me with just 1075 wisdom credits, which I plan to spend on gifts for my family, but not today. It's already becoming late. I had been in the fair since morning and now I just want to eat and sleep. Having no mood to cook, I've decided to eat outside, for which Ashland became way too happy. My cooking is good, but there are many professionals here who are much better than me. On top of that, they have brought ingredients and meat from the central continent which is 10 or even 100 times better than what we have at back home. Choo-choo. As we were searching for a good stall to eat, Ashland chirped and motioned me toward the certain stall with her wings. Seeing how Ashland is never wrong about food, I started to walk toward the direction she had motioned. Hun. Soon we reached stall. It was packed full and there is even a long line. First I didn't understand the reason for its popularity, seeing it is just like any other normal stall and fair, but when I looked at a pretty girl who is cooking the food, I understood all and became quite shocked. That is because the girl is cooking with rule power. I can sense the power of fire rule in the fire she using for cooking. I am quite shocked seeing this. Rule power is quite hard to control. Even with the help of memories I would need months, even year, before I control rule with the same precision as her. It is impossible she would have comprehended rule a few days ago. Even if she had seen memories through totem artifact like me and is highly talented, she would need at least a month to get such control. Sometime later, I found out the reason for her fire mastery through the whispers I heard in line. It turns out this girl is from Wisdom Tower and cooking is her hobby, so every day after her shift was over, she would set up a shop for a few hours. Well, that explains a lot. Only people from Wisdom Tower could have such mastery over the rule power despite their young age. Only after being in line for more than an hour did my number came. As I sit on the table I quickly ordered for Ashlyn as me. The food here is little expensive compared to other stalls in fair, but still I want to give it a try once to see how the food made with the help of the ruling power tastes like. Soon the 2 steaming hot plates appeared in front of me and Ashlyn. I didn't wait for a second and started to eat. I couldn't help but make a sound as I took the first bite. It is very, very tasty. The best dish I've ever eaten. No wonder there was such a big line. Ashlyn and I ate our food in record time. The food was so tasty that we couldn't stop ourselves from taking the second bite before I could finish first. After eating the food, I walked back toward my tent. While walking I looked at the projection. This is the projection that is showing information of all the 237 rule that Rule Palace has. There were many changes in the list of rules. The rule of killing, rule of sunfire, rule of firestorm could not be seen. Instead they are replaced by the different rules of the same level. Every day more than 1,000 people passed the test and entered the Rule Palace. With so many people entering the Rule Palace, some object of rule gets spent every day. The people of Wisdom Tower place a new object of rule in their place. From what I know, these objects of rule came from King Level Powerhouse, which is considered very strong in Central Continent. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience. Please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. I have to say this wisdom tower is quite benevolent, to let people comprehend rule power from king-level powerhouse's totem artifact without discrimination and charging not a penny for it. Soon I reached my tent and fell asleep. 5 minutes later I was in sound sleep. Days passed by and the time of my leaving is near. I will leave tomorrow morning as the Minerva realm will close 6 days later. After connecting with the awakening ground, the power limit of Minerva realm had increased to lieutenant stage, but it brought no change to the which it stays open for. People from the Republic had already started leaving a few days ago. Funnily, some people from the Republic wanted to leave for the central continent from this awakening ground. Seeing how powerful the central continent is, they could easily reach heights which they wouldn't dare to dream in our continent, but sadly all of their hopes were squashed. The people from Wisdom Tower had announced that the entrance to Central Continent is only available for those from the Central Continent and others are not allowed to use it. In these few days, I had spent all the wisdom credit I had. My account is left with the zero balance. There is not a single wisdom credit left in it. I had swung by Nigel and Billy's tents few times, but they were empty as always, and yesterday those 2 tents had disappeared. That only means they had left this awakening ground. This realm had become a turning point in my life. My strength had risen exponentially that even I am not sure how strong I am right now. The only remaining thing left for me to do is try body cleansing technique. I only remember 4 moves of the 16, which is more than I can handle. I stood in the center of the room and take a few breaths as I prepare myself for the technique. Every move of body cleansing technique has 120 poses. They are very simple if one looks at them individually, but when one does them, they seem very mystical. I hope to at least do 1 move, but I think it's going to be quite difficult as from what I have seen in the memories. The ones who performed them all wore at peak night stage, martial stage. Compared to them, my stage is really low. After taking a couple of deep breaths, I started to perform the technique pose by pose. At first pose I didn't feel anything, but on the second pose I felt slight strain across my body, and when I performed the third pose the strain had increased again. With every pose the strain increased by many times. By the time I performed the 6th pose, I felt like I had thousands of kilograms weight on my body. Still, I kept performing as I feel this technique is 100 times better than the Wind Slayer style exercise that I used to perform. At 9 the pose I felt the immense strain that I felt when Windblade style exercise had left my body with the highest amount of strain. When I looked at my body at the cellular level, I found that my whole body is filled with different kinds of energies. About 80% of it seemed berserk energy, but the rest 20% seem a different type of energy that I have never seen before. I am very shocked seeing this, not a different type of energy but the berserk energy in my body. I thought when I had performed Windblade style exercise, I had merged all the berserk energy in the body, but it seemed now that the merger was not perfect, as this much amount of berserk energy is still in my body. With every move I perform, the energies came out and merged back. Not only that, my body also became like furnace after 16 moves, kept getting hotter with every move to make merging even more perfect. Now, it seemed what instructor in memories had said is right, that all other exercises are half-baked. They cannot perfectly merge all the energies in the body. Only body cleansing technique could do that. As for that remaining 20% different energies, I think they are from miracle fruits, mystical medicine, and some other things that I ate. With every pose I performed, the more extra energy will come out and more it will keep merging with my body. All these merging foreign energies with the body is just a side effect of this technique. The technique's main use is to remove impurities from the body. Not only that, if one can perform all 16 moves of it, one can gain unblemished body which perfect to integrate with inheritances. So, I have to keep performing this technique. The higher I go, the more stronger and cleaner body I will get. With the 10th pose, the strain on my body had increased even more. I felt like my body bound in steel wires, as moving everybody parts need tremendous strength. I kept performing poses, seeing how the hidden energies in my body kept perfectly merging. I kept performing and finally reached the 11th pose and felt I truly hit my limit, as moving a single part of my body became difficult, but I kept moving my body to perform 12th pose, as I know I will receive the small benefit after I reached it. Thud. Despite feeling immense strength, I finally able to perform 12th pose, and just as I did that, I fell on the floor with a thud, as my body no longer able to handle it, but not before I smelled the foul odor coming out of my body. A small curve of a smile couldn't help but form on my face, smelling that four smells. Chapter 3:11 Leaving Awakening Ground 2. The foul smell that came out of my body is the smell of impurities. A small number of impurities will come out after every 12 poses. That is why I performed 12th pose despite reaching my limit, so the impurities could out. These impurities came from many outside sources and are also produced inside the body. It is important that the body fewer impurities as possible. My body lay immobile for nearly 10 minutes, only after 10 minutes did I gain enough control over my body to make my fingers twitch. Only after 5 minutes did I gain enough control over my body that I could stand up and go to the bathroom to take shower, so I could get out of this foul odor I am smelling all over my body. I still felt quite tired after getting out of the shower. This technique is a little different than the exercises I performed in the past, where more than half of energy would return to the body after a few minutes of exercise. Body cleansing technique will take you all the energy and it won't return it. You have to recover it with eating and sleeping. So, this technique could only be performed in the place of absolute safety. I would have really liked to see what benefits my body had received, but my body is too tired to know that, so, all I could do is lay on the bed to sleep. This time, the sleep came to me little late due to me being too excited to sleep despite being very tired. I am excited because I will be leaving this realm tomorrow and I could finally see how powerful I have become. From the memories, I know my power had grown exponentially, but I don't know how much is that exponential growth. I just hope that I will be able to lieutenant monster of any level at least. That is my final thought of the night as I fell into sleep. Buzz buzz. I woke up at dawn by the alarm that I had set up yesterday. As I got up from the bed, I felt quite good, not tired like yesterday. Standing up by the bed, I make basic movements of my body only to notice that they feel quite free and unrestrained. Not only that I am feeling my body had also become a little stronger. I had to keep performing this exercise whenever I am at a free and safe place, only then will I take maximum benefits from this technique. I quickly showered and started to make food as we will be leaving this awakening ground right after we finish eating. Choo choo. Ashlyn was woken up by the fragrance of food. The food I had made for a few days is tasty compared to before. The reason is that I had brought some ingredients from the central continent. Soon I finished making the food and served 2 plates for me and Ashlyn. We both ate in silence. After eating, I started to pack everything that is lying around in a tent. Seeing everything is packed, I got out a tent and deactivated it. Putting tent back in my storage, I take a last look at the sea of tents. There are not as much as tents as there were a few days ago, but there are still near a million tents. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Sighing, I retraced my gaze and started to walk toward the boundary. The awakening ground is still very lively as people of central continent kept coming every day. There is still quite a time before awakening realm close up. If not for Minerva realm is closing in 5 days, I would have stayed in the awakening ground a few days more, but sadly it is not. 2 hours later I reached a spatial boundary that will take me to the region 9 of Minerva realm. Hundreds of people could be seen passing through it every minute. They all like me going back to the region 9 of Minerva realm. As I walked near the spatial boundary, I wanted to activate all the artifacts I have to the maximum in case I am transported near dangerous monster, but soon noticed I didn't have any artifacts on me except for shoe type artifact I am wearing and red sword that is in my storage. As for knight grade armor, mask and everything, I sold them all for wisdom credits, but this time I have no fear as I am sure I can kill any monster that came in front in region 9. My action earlier was instinctive, which is formed by the habit. I took a step into the spatial boundary and next moment I found myself in the shore of Big River. It took me a few seconds to know where I am transported to. If I had transported to this place before I entered the awakening ground, my chances of dying here would have been quite high. Seeing how this area used to be an enclave of peak master stage monster, and after realms restrictions loosen, many of these monsters would have been level up to lieutenant stage, but now I have no such fear as my strength had experienced exponential growth. What I want now is to find strong opponent, be it monster or human, to fight against, so I can know how powerful I had become. Roar. Moo. As I am thinking about which direction to go, I heard the sound of the monsters. Without thinking much I jumped high and started to run on the air. This is low-level night-grade hybrid skill named Wind Run. It is a fusion of speed-type skill and levitating skill. This skill is 10 times better than the sky steps which I had been using to run on the sky. Using that skill was like stepping on the very unstable raft. With a single mistake, one will walk into the river, but this skill Wind is like running on windmill, which you can adjust as at your own pace. Had a very small fear of falling as long as one is careful enough. The only requirement for this skill is to have enough mana. It requires a huge amount of mana. Normal corporal and sergeant stage can't provide, so this skill mostly used by either super elite or those at master stage or above. This is the secret skill of organization which only super elite, trainee elite, and the promising elite have access to. People have always jealous of this skill, but they have no choice but to swallow their release, as they couldn't buy these skills, no matter how much money they have. If they really do want to experience the sky walking, then they can only use inefficient skill like sky step, which is barely stable and one has to keep half of his concentration on it. With the help of Ree's skill, I can walk on the air as I do on the ground. The only thing I had to keep in mind that I could not stop on the spot for than 5 seconds or I will fall on the ground. Choo 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 choo. Suddenly Ashlyn started to chirp loudly and excitedly as we were getting closer to the place we were hearing monster sounds from, and I wasn't able to sense anything from her as her mind was locked, which she started to do regularly ever since she had comprehended the rule. There must be something good to for her to chirp like this, seeing that I increased my pace again and soon reached the place where I heard the sound of monsters and became quite surprised to see what is happening on the ground. Below, 3 mid-level lieutenant stage monsters are fighting ferociously, but the surprising thing is while they are fighting, half of their gaze is on the tree not far away from the. All the other trees around that 3 are damaged and destroyed, but there is barely any harm came to that tree. Where I looked carefully, I found there is single bright green papaya-like fruit hanging by the tree. This fruit is likely the reason why all 3 of these monsters fighting for it. Seeing I and Ashlyn coming near them, the monsters didn't even give us a single glance, likely not caring for the puny corporal stage evolvers from whom they felt no risk from. Choo choo choo. After the second we arrived above the battlefield, Ashlyn chirp exited and flew away toward the fruit. Ash. I wanted to stop her but stopped half. She is not same Ashlyn she was 15 days ago. I don't think all 3 of these monsters combined would able to injure. Moo. Seeing tiny corporal stage bird is flying toward the fruit they have been fighting for, an aqua bull got angry and quickly made its 20-meter giant body appear in the way and opened its mouth, wanting to eat Ashlyn in a single gulp. Seeing that Ashlyn did not change her course, instead covered her body with her silver fire. In that silver fire one can sense the terrifying power of sunfire. The monster likely sensed and tried to shut its mouth and moved away, but unfortunately, Ashlyn's speed increased exponentially as she covered her body with the power of sunfire. Puck. Thud. With comet-like speed, she entered the mouth of Aqua Bull, and next moment sound of piercing came out as she came out of Aqua Bull's skull. All the shine from Aqua Bull had disappeared as its body fell on the ground with a thud. My mouth opened in shock as I saw this scene. She just finished fights in second. I thought it will take at least few minutes for her finish the monster, but to my surprise, she finished in just 1 second. As if nothing happened, she took back the flames off her body and landed on the tree beside fruit, which is slightly bigger than her size. Roar roar. Seeing Ashlyn taking a bite of the fruit they had been fighting for, both monsters ran toward Ashlyn, not caring their earlier opponent killed by her a few seconds ago. This food seems really special for them to act like that, otherwise, they would run away as soon as they saw the other monster being killed in a second by Ashlyn. Fire strike. Not wanting to get to or disturb, I quickly launched 2 bolts of fire strike at the monsters. They are not special bolts but the simple bolts, the only difference is that I added the power of sunfire in it. Crash. Crash. 2 small bolts of fire pierced through their bodies. First I thought nothing much happened, but the next moment, I found them crashing on them being completely dead. Chapter 312 Double Level Up. I am quite surprised to see them being dead at the single strike. I thought they would last at least 2 or 3 moves of mine. I gently landed on the ground and walked toward the monster bodies, to take out their cores. I cut the heart of the monsters, take out their monster's core and also some of the important parts to selling them at Westblood. As for Ashlyn, she is enjoying the papaya-like fruit which she shot through the monster's mouth like a comet. Looking at the fruit which is getting smaller and smaller by every second, I couldn't help but hope that the fruit which is Ashlyn eating is a miracle fruit. But I know that chances of it being happening are really low, but I wish that fruit is miracle fruit. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. It happened many times that Ashlyn smelled something tasty and couldn't able to control herself. Chew. Ashlyn quickly finished eating the fruit and gave enthusiastic chirp as she came toward me flying and soon entered inside me. As she entered inside me, I felt some strange energy is entering my body with swift speed. This energy is very strange, sometimes it feels cold, sometimes it felt hot. It kept feeling my body and I had no control over it. The reason I am not feeling worried because Ashlyn had opened her mind to relay that this energy is relatively harmless and I should let it fill my body without restricting it. That is the reason I am letting it run over my body, otherwise, I would not have been letting it fill my body without much fear. The hot and cold energy kept feeling my body and soon it will reach the limit, but nothing had happened and that started to worry me. I don't want to be like an inflated balloon which would explode after it reaches its limit. I started to sweat as the energy filled me with brim and I felt if this energy keeps filling my body a few seconds, I would surely explode. As I was about to do something about it, I felt like a spark lit from Ashlyn and next moment, I felt like I am leveling up. That has clearly shocked me. With that strange energy in my body, I knew that the fruit that Ashlyn had eaten is miracle fruit, but I did not think this miracle fruit of leveling up, as many types of them exist. Ashlyn had eaten the miracle fruit that helped her leveled up before and feeling it gave is completely different than I am getting now. I thought this fruit would be some other miracle fruit which will provide aid to her strength in some other way. The strange energy that filled me with brim had started sucking in my body. It was a good thing I had monster's core in my body. I had kept converting berserk energy to normal energy to provide for all the mana it needed for me to level up. I kept providing it mana as much as it needs, but at one point, I couldn't help but feel surprised. It is taking way more mana that it needs for me to level up, but I can't do anything about it except for providing the mana. Soon monster core in my stomach is completely spent and I quickly ate new piece monster core and I felt as if a small volcano had exploded in the stomach as the power of this monster core many times more berserk than the previous monster core. The piece of the monster core that I had just eaten is from the Sergeant Stage monster. It contains many times more berserk energy than Master Stage monster core. I pressed the volcano with my mind power and increased the speed of my refinement engine so that the berserk energy that had rampaging inside body be quickly get converted. As time passed, little by little I gained control over Sergeant Stage monster core that I have in my body. It is still very volatile, but as long as I kept the lock of my mental energy on it, I will not get out of control. The condition of my body now is way better than it had been 3 weeks ago. Now even if I had eaten the piece of Master Stage monster core instead of Sergeant Stage monster core, I would have been able to control it, albeit barely. I kept converting berserk energy as the hunger of that strange energy never seemed to fill. The strange energy's mana swallowing finally started to slow down, but when I looked at the condition of monster core in my stomach, I was quite shocked as there was only 30% of it is left. It had taken way too much mana. This amount of mana is more than enough to level up to me to the initial level of Sergeant Stage directly, I thought. The sucking of mana finally stopped and nothing happened for a few seconds. I even started to wonder if something was going to happen or not, as that feeling of leveling up had never become intense. Then suddenly minutes later, the strange energy which had become silent had started to circulate my body roaringly and feeling of leveling up increased 10 times more. The strange energy is kept circulating in my body faster and faster while the feeling of leveling up became more intense. I had never experienced such a feeling before. It is likely due to miracle fruit. It is said that each miracle fruit slightly different than others even if they have the same functions. Miracle fruits are extremely rare and rarely appear in the market. From what I had searched on the web, the last miracle fruit had appeared on the market decade ago and the price it got in the auction is more than 100 billion. Value of miracle fruit is not in eating it but in researching it. Many alchemists will flock the whenever miracle fruit appeared in the market. Many of the potions that we have in the market have come from researching miracle fruit and mystic medicine. Bang! Suddenly a bang rang across my body and that barriers that seemed to block me from leveling up shattered and I started to level up. While leveling up, I noticed the momentum of energy inside me is too great and I had a feeling that this will not be simple level up. As I level up of mid-level of corporal stage, the change started occurring in my body and source but the momentum of that strange energy is kept going fierce. Gasp! The momentum kept going till it touched the boundary of peak level of corporal stage and attacked it with full force. Bang! That barrier is also broke and I entered the peak stage of corporal stage. This completely shocked me out of my mind. Directly breaking through 2 stages, this happened very rarely. The only person I know had done that is Jim, different than me. He had directly broken though the stage from initial level of specialist stage to initial level of corporal stage. Chapter 313 Blood Shower I. While Michael was leveling up, something entirely different happening in the place not far away for him. As long as you gave me your everything, I promise I will not kill you. Dean said to 3 people who are lying on the ground all bloodied. If Michael would have been here, he would have definitely identified this fat young man. He is Dean, which Michael referred to as Serious Fatty, is one of the 3 people who had force-fed Michael Monster Core of Lieutenant Stage Monster. Really, you promise, said one of the 3 people who is lying bloodied on the ground. All 3 of them are seriously injured by Dean and on completely at his mercy, so when they heard his offer they could help but see hope in this despair-filled situation. Yes. I will not kill you as long as you give me all the things you have, said Dean with the that did not look like that of Bandit but the boy next door that one sees every day. Hearing that, all 3 of them mustered all their energy and started to take all the precious things they have despite feeling strange power their body. Soon all 3 of them took out all they have. Total unwilling could be seen on them as there are many precious things they have brought from the awakening ground which is nearly impossible to be found in the Republic. These are all the things we have, can you let us go now, said a bloodied young man. Dean nodded as his face full of smiles seeing all the precious thing he got from 3 of them. Seeing they got permission to leave 3 of who were weakly lying on the ground due to their injuries became active once more and started to run. As they were running, suddenly they felt danger coming behind them, only to see 3 wind blades coming toward them swiftly and just as they thought of dodging, they felt a cooling sensation on their neck and next moment 3 necks fell on the ground with the rest of their bodies behind. One could see deep shock and unwillingness in the eyes of 3 severed heads. How amazing this rule power is. The lieutenant stage which I looked up to before, now is like clay chickens in front of me. I can even kill super elite of lieutenant stage easily as long they had not grasped this amazing power of rule. Whispered Dean with a strange smile. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Now it is time to find next target. Rufus, let's move toward next prey, said Dean to Grey Dog Monster by his side. Sniff sniff. Rufus the dog monster sniffed for a while before started running swiftly. Dean, on the other hand, took the jump and started running on the air, losing not a bit speed compared to his monster who was running on the ground with swift speed. Suddenly the dog monster stopped and started to sniff furiously. Rufus, what happened? Asked Head as he landed on the floor beside his monsters. Woof 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 woof. Barked dog monster insistently, hearing that deep anger and rage come over him. Good, now I can finally take my revenge. I will make his death so painful that he will regret killing my brother, not only that I will even kill his whole family for peace of my brother's soul, said Dean through gritted teeth. Rufus, lead the way, said Dean to his dog monster as he followed it from the sky. The momentum of strange energy didn't stop even after I break through the peak of corporal stage, but when it crashed through the barrier, it failed to break through the barrier. It tried again and again, crashed through the barrier, but every time, then suddenly that strange energy lost it all momentum and started dissolving in my body. Seeing that I am a little disappointed, I hope that momentum of the strange energy will help me break through the sergeant stage, but sadly it cannot. My breakthrough hadn't been completed yet as there is still change happening in my body. Only 15 minutes later all the energies in my body had calmed down and my breakthrough had completed. I feel the newfound strength that coursing through my body which is enough to destroy this whole forest. I know all this is my illusion, but I know my strength had increased a lot, but it is still nothing compared to rule power. With a sword in my hand, I started to perform basic body movements to get control over my new strength. Time passed by as I am fully concented on getting feel on my newfound strength when suddenly I felt a very threatening attack coming toward me which could injure me lately. I quickly moved back and slashed my sword toward incoming attack. This was not a normal slash but slash infused with the power of sun fire which I had coated over the sword. Clank! My sword clashed against the incoming attack which is a sharp wind blade. Not only that, this wind blade had contained fearsome power of rule of wind. Free! I looked up toward my attacker and started to ask why he attacked me when I stopped short as I saw who attacked me and anger had appeared in my eyes for a moment. So, it's you, I said with a calm face while Serious Fatty still had shock written all over the face. Only hearing my question did he able to come to himself. He is one of the fatties that forcefully fed me Monster's core. If I was not lucky enough to have such a unique refinement engine, I would have been surely dead. Not only me, but this fatty have also leaps and bounds. He is initial level of master stage compared to the mid stage of sergeant stage, and most importantly, this fatty had also comprehended the rule power. I will have to be careful fighting him when rule power enters the battle. It became quite unpredictable. I never thought you would also gain the power of rule. Well, this will make killing you even more interesting, said Serious Fatty as he launched his attack from the sky. Zip, 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 zip. Tens of wind blades had launched through his sword, each containing power of rule in them which made even faster and sharper. It was a good thing. I was prepared and had already activated my stretching skill as a single band of green color could be seen on hands and feet. The wind blades were extremely swift as they took less than a second appeared before me, but I am surprised by it and already expected this as my sword which is coated with rule of sun fire moved swiftly to counter all the wind blades. Clank 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 clank. Tens of wind blades clashed against my sword and burned to nothing next moment due to rule of sun fire. You are very good. I would have never thought you would comprehend variant of fire rule, said Fatty and moved his sword to launch an attack again. A variant of fire rule? Looks like me using only a small percentage of rule of sun fire made him think that I had comprehended some variant of rule of fire. He is probably thinking the rule I had comprehended is strong level 3 rule. If he had sensed mine is level 2 rule, the rule of sun fire at that, he would run away long ago with his tail tucked between his legs. There is a vast difference between level 3 and level 2 rules, and mine is rule of sun fire which is peak level 2, which many times stronger than common level 2 rules. Zup zup zup. He launched 3 wind blades consecutively, but this time these 3 wind blades are different as each wind blade is 3 meters long and emitting stronger power of rule that previous attack. I did not react seeing bigger and stronger wind blades. I defend against them as I did with his previous attack. Clank clank clank. The 3 wind blades of Serious Fatty clashed against my shield and like previous wind blades, all of them vaporized as they touched my sword. A slight surprise appeared on Serious Fatty's face before turning it to normal. Look like I've underestimated you too much. Chapter 314 Blood Shower 2. This was me just playing. Now I will fight with you seriously, he said, and stronger power fluctuation had transmitted from his body. Sensing such heavy magic fluctuation, I became even more cautious as till now this fatty had attacked me with just low-level night grade skills, but now he is attacking me with mid-level night grade skill. To be even more cautious, I coated my sword with even more rule power than before, not only that I even started to use my strengthening skill to limit, so that my reaction would be fast enough. One could now see 2 bands of deep green color on my hands and feet instead of 1, it is because I am using the power of 2 amethyst seals. The vitality of supreme combat exercise is really amazing. With me using it, not only it made my body stronger but also increased my reaction speed, so I could counter any attack that came toward me at a faster speed. Slicing wheels, shouted Serious Fatty, and attack. Tens of azure color small wheels released from his sword at every swing. They are just palm size but looks extremely sharp, and on top of that rule of wind that merged into them had made their attack very fast. Just as he launched the attack, I quickly moved away from wanting to dodge the maximum attacks. He is releasing dozens of wind wheels every swing of his sword. It will be very hard for me to counter all of them in standing on one spot without using the defensive skill. Clank 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 clank. I kept dodging and clashing with the wheels. In this attack did the rule of Sunfire started to show its power. Whenever my sword touched something it will vaporize instantly. These small wheels of wind may seem the same as earlier wind blades, but they are many times more dangerous. Even the power of huge wind blade can't compare to these small wheels. These wheels not only have extremely dense wind elemental energy and sharp but also contain heavy rule of wind merged in them. This is the power of mid-level night grade skill. It is on a completely different level compared to low-level night grade skill. If not for my sword is coated with powerful rule of Sunfire which have the power to vaporize anything that it touched, then my body would have been cut by tens of these wheels. Clank 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 clank, clank. For 3 minutes he launched tens of wind blades at me and all I could do is dodge and counter them. While countering his attacks, I felt that his use of rule power is very rough. Well, that is understandable. I would think that most of those who had comprehended the power of rule didn't have much better control over rule. I am an exception to that rule as I had experienced the memory's top powerhouse through his totem artifact. I have quite a good idea on how to use the totem power. Is this all you have? I asked with little short breath as I was constantly defending and countering his attack that I didn't even have time to catch a breath. He is also not much better than me as his face is also quite flushed. His serious face which was quite bland earlier is now showing hint anger by my provocative question. Good, very good. I have never thought you would comprehend LV2 rule, he said as he gently landed on the ground. He only now able to see that the rule which I am using is level 2 rule but he is still not able to see that it is rule of Sunfire, otherwise he would not have been this calm. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. But don't think it will save you. I will not only kill you more painful way than you kill my brother, but I will also even kill family and friends you have, said Fatty with evil smile on his face. He is quite smart. Knowing I have comprehended the second level rule, he became quite cautious and wanted to anger me with his words. So that I would attack him in anger, losing my rational thoughts. Well, he is quite successful angering me as me when he said killing about my family but he thinks I would lose my rational mind. He is sorely mistaken. I am angry, extremely angry, but that anger is deep within my heart. It will only erupt when I will beat him thoroughly and do the same with him as he did with me. We kept staring at each other for quite a while, waiting for others to make the first move. With his provocative words, he was expecting my anger-filled attack but seeing all this time pass but no response came from apart from the slight smile that is hanging on my becoming more mocking over time. Seeing the mocking smile on my face, anger in Fatty's eyes kept rising till he can't control himself. You bastard, if I didn't kill you in a most painful way, then I won't be calling myself Dean, screamed Fatty, and that is when I knew that this Fatty's name is Dean. The strong fluctuation of magic rose from Fatty's body as he activated several mid-grade skills came toward me. Looking at his momentum, he seemed to be holding back nothing this time. His sword is coated in azure layer and emitted a dense feeling of rule. Sensing how dense this feeling is, I can tell his rule of wind had reached low level of the basic stage. Being wind ability user, his speed type skill is very fast. It looked like a blur but unlike his sword, his speed type isn't fused with his speed type skills. I am not surprised seeing that. Fusing power of rule and attack type skill is very easy as they are less complicated than other skills. If he wanted to fuse his power of rule with other than attack type skill then he would need at least 2 to 3 months to do that, but I don't have that problem. I have got the gist of fusing rule power in a skill when I experience the memories. I am month even years ahead of others in using owner. I did not stand on the spot seeing him coming toward me. I activated my strength and type skill and speed type skill with both of fused with rule of Sunfire. Rule of Sunfire is offensive type rule but it can also be used in other things due to it being very high level. He looked shocked seeing me coming toward him as my speed is not one bit slower than him, instead, I am a little faster. As we came closer, both of us swung our sword toward each other. Bam! As our swords clashed, I let rule of Sunfire traveled into the sword of Fatty. As it touches the sword of Fatty, I started incinerating everything that came in its way. The rule of wind which coated the Fatty's sword tried to block it, but just as it touched the rule of sun fire, it got burned away. Pooh! Finally, it touched the Fatty hand and next second his whole face is changed and he vomited blood, but that vomit had turned into blood mist. Not only that, scorching marks could be seen all over Fatty's face. It may look it had taken a few seconds, but it all happened in just 1 second. Fatty looked completely horrified by my attack and first time clear fear could be seen in his eyes. I thought he would attack again, but next moment Fatty turned and started to run away, and this time his speed seemed many times greater than before. I shook my head seeing him running away. I may have not expected him running away this quickly, but I was prepared for such a scenario. Fire strike. I launched my ever so trustful attack against Fatty. A single bolt of concentrated fire shot from my sword. Injure with rule of sun fire, its speed is very fast. Poochie. It cut through the air swiftly and pierced the back of Fatty before it could defend himself. Thud. Fatty kept running stumblingly for few seconds before crashing against the tree, which he failed to avoid due to his momentum. Chapter 315 Blood Shower 3. With speed skill activated, I reached near the body of Fatty in a second. He is alive as I had expected, just heavily injured and seemed unconscious. Fatty looked like someone had just taken him out of boiling water, as it had completely red due to the power of sun fire that wreaking havoc inside his body. I have to give to this Fatty, he had amazing willpower. It was no wonder he was able to pass the test and comprehend the rule of wind. Fatty, who seemed unconscious, is completely awake and clear-headed. He is just acting unconsciously to give me fatal blow, as this is his only way to survive. Normal people would not have been able to do that what this Fatty is doing with remnant power of rule of sun fire ravaging their body. This rule of killing is really amazing. Not only it, but every peak level 2 rule is special. With rule of killing comprehended, I can sense anyone who has bad intentions toward me, especially killing intent. If not for the rule of killing, I would have definitely fallen into his trap and would be dealt a fatal blow as this Fatty. Fire strike. Fire strike. Ah. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. I swiftly launched 2 bolts of fire strike which pierced through both shoulders of Fatty, and next moment squeal-like scream rang out from Fatty's mouth. This time he wasn't able to keep his mouth shut, as both of my fire bolts had pierced through his shoulders, as this time fire bolts had more power of sun fire in them. Even if I was in Fatty's place, I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut. Fatty looked at me with anger and hate in his eyes. There was also fear which he desperately trying to suppress. Bam! I hit the base of my sword on Fatty's head, making him lose consciousness. With him, an unconscious lot of things will be a lot easier. First thing I did was take out all the precious things that Fatty have on his, including his sword, which is also a totem artifact. I take out all the artifacts he was wearing on his body, and quite surprised to see that he has another totem artifact. It is shoe type artifact, so this is the reason his speed had multiplied when he was running away. I was a little disappointed, though it would have been defense type totem artifact that would have made me really happy, as I desperately need for them. After removing all artifacts, storage which I quite excited to check later, I bound his body with ropes. These ropes are quite special. Even with his wind rule power it would take him quite a while to cut it. After binding him secularly, I woke him up with dumping cold water on his head. He woke up and seeing himself being bound he glared at me fiercely. What? Do you want to torture me? Said Fatty angrily with a voice laced with heavy sarcasm. Let me tell you how gruesome your torture is. I will not beg for mercy, said Fatty bravely while doing his all to cut the ropes they're binding him. He is not even trying to hide that as fluctuation. I did not reply to any of his words, just calmly took out the monster core from my storage. I didn't even hide my actions. His pupil dilated seeing me taking out monster core, and look of fear appeared in his eyes. After seeing the monster core, he is smart enough to guess what I am going to do with him and clenched his jaw in response. It's no use, I said as I moved my hands toward the face to open his mouth forcefully. He had clenched his mouth very tightly. I had used a lot of force to open his mouth as this fatty is trying his all to stop me forcefully opening his eyes. Gripping his mouth tightly in one hand, I placed to put the monster core above his mouth. Seeing monster core above his mouth, Fatty looked very scared. All the bravado he showed earlier had completely disappeared. I am very sure if I moved my hand from his mouth, he would surely beg for mercy. I still clearly remember how terrifying it feels to have monster's core in one's stomach, the fearful berserk energy that could make one's body explode. I did not directly put the core of the monster into his mouth, instead of transmitted power of sunfire into it. Next moment, the solid monster core had turned into the liquid fell into his mouth. Not all liquid fell into his mouth, some melt fell on its mouth as Fatty put last-minute struggle to avoid liquid falling into his mouth. Still, it is enough. The reason I did not put the solid monster core into the Fatty mouth because I know it will take more than half an hour or more to make Fatty explode. Fatty is master stage evolver and has rule power which could infer and process. That is why I thought it would best to turn the Corinto liquid as it will not take more than 5 minutes for him to explode. Aha! Aha! His loud screaming started. Second later I put the liquid monster core in his mouth. I had to stuff his mouth with a cloth to mute his screaming. I don't want to be seen by anyone doing this stuff. He is flailing on the ground like a dead fish. What berserk energy do one's body is really terrifying. It felt like millions of tiny needles had rampaging in the body, tearing whatever that came in their way. Looking at him in extreme pain, I felt no remorse. I would have given him death if he at least tried to stop those two Fatty once, but he did not do that. He not only stops two Fatties feeding me monster core, but he looked all with his apathetic eyes. I am very sure, seeing how naturally they had fed me monster core, they must have done this with other people, and those people may not be as lucky as me to survive this horrifying death. The monster I had put into his mouth is that mid-level lieutenant monster that I had killed an hour ago. The effect of berserk energy started to appear just after 30 seconds, the bright red veins started to appear body, not only that small crack also started forming. This clearly surprised me. I thought it would take at least 2 minutes for the crack to appear but look like this body maker. Seeing cracks are spreading at a visible pace, I felt it would not even take more than minutes for Fatty to explode. I took a few steps back from Fatty and also activated my defense skill to protect myself from the gore of the exploding body. Time passed by and cracks began to widen more. Soon I saw Fatty's body reaching its limit and thought it could explode any moment. Bong! Fatty's body exploded and blood and gore spread all around. It felt like blood rain. Chapter 3:16 Looting? Splash. The blood rain splashed across the shield that was protecting me. If not its protection, then I would have definitely died in blood. I kept looking at the bloodied scene for a while. I am not casually looking at it for nothing but waiting for something. Ever since I had started fighting Fatty, I had noticed senses that a killing intent had been locked on me. It is savage, primal as nature, and it increased many times after Fatty had exploded. Killing intent is definitely from the monster, and seeing how it's been locked on me and increased many times more, I am sure that it's from Fatty's monster. I am waiting to see if Fatty's monster attack me or not. It will best if it attacks. I want to finish this problem once for all, but even after waiting for 5 minutes, the attack I was expecting did not come, and killing intent which I am feeling toward me also lessened. Seeing the monster had lost its will to take revenge for its owner, I shook my head in disappointment. Not wanting to stay in this area a second longer, I took the high jump and started running in the sky. After killing that Fatty, I felt like a burden that I am feeling in heart lesson, and I felt quite relaxed. I have to say, running on the air is quite fast. My journey time had directly cut 1/5, and it couldn't be helped that due to a sharp increase in my strength. I didn't feel any obstruction in my journey, as whatever monster tried to attack me would die by my blade. As I am running on the sky, I noticed that I didn't really check the Fatty's storage. There must be a lot of things there, I thought. I wanted to take it out Fatty's storage and see what inside, but I did not check that, thinking once I stopped, it would a lot of my time. I would check it when I stopped for the rest. Time passed by and soon I reached near the boundary. It would take me a maximum hour to reach it. In this journey, I was attacked by many monsters from Sergeant stage to Lieutenant stage, but all of them were killed by the sword. Of all the killed monsters, I only stopped to collect parts of Lieutenant stage monsters. I didn't even stop to collect parts Master stage monsters. As I was running toward the boundary, I saw 4 people coming toward me speedily. There are 3 young men and 1 young woman, all of them wearing a mask and robe-like dress which made difficult to guess their bodies. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Seeing their get-up, one didn't need much brain who they are. Soon they stopped in front of me. "Friend, stop," said the leader of the 4 people. I wouldn't have stopped, but they had appeared directly in front of me and directly blocked my way front. "What do you want?" I asked vigilantly and gripped the red sword by my waist, ready to fight any moment. 3 people are peak master stage while their leader is at the initial stage of lieutenant stage. "You see, friend, we are in dire need of money. We would be really grateful if you would give us all your stuff," said the leader of 4 in very gentle, eloquent voice. Hearing they wished to rob me, my face became hardened and I gripped my sword very tightly. I would have attacked them as soon he asked me to give all my stuff to them, but I didn't, as I didn't sense any killing intent from them. "Are you robbing for me?" I asked. "How can you accuse us of that, friend? We are respected people of society. We just asking you for your stuff because we really need them." He had immediately rejected the idea of them robbing with the same gentle and eloquent voice, and said they really in need of money. If it was any other place and they were not wearing this getup, I would have really believed they are genuinely asking me for money. Still, I didn't launch an attack as I didn't sense any bad intent from them. "What are you going to do if I didn't give you all my stuff?" I asked again, wanting to know their bottom line. "Friend, we are not bad people, but we are in big need of money. If you didn't give us all your stuff, then we will have to use little force," replied their leader with the low voice. "But don't worry, friend, if we hurt you by accident, we will surely leave medicine to heal your injuries," said the leader. "How benevolent of you." I wanted to say that. First, they want to rob me, and in the process, if they hurt me, they will surely leave behind medicine, so I could heal my injuries. "So, what do you say, friend? Do you want us to give us all your stuff or take it by force?" asked the leader. "No, I won't be giving you anything, you robbers," I said loudly and took out the sword off my waist, ready to fight if they attacked. "Sigh, friend, you didn't leave us any choice. Now we will have to force you to give up all your stuff," said leader, and 4 of them quickly surrounded me with 4 sides. Seeing that, I activated my defense type skill and even merged a small amount of power of Sunfire. Rule of Sunfire is an offensive type rule, but it can also be used in other things like defense, seeing it is peak 2 ND level rule. "Everyone careful, don't hurt this friend too much," said leader, and attacked me with 3 other members. I stood on the spot without moving, just keeping my defensive skill activated. There are 2 reasons for me not attacking them. The first is that I want to test the power of my defense skill, which is aided by the power of Sunfire, and second, the most important thing is that I didn't sense any killing intent from them. With rule of killing comprehended, I can sense if someone has killing intent toward me, and that is why they are alive, otherwise I would attack them a second they had mentioned robbing me. I had already had my sword ready in my hand, and I will surely launch a fatal attack if I sensed any killing intent from them. They all launched their attack at me. All of them attacked with low-level night grade skill. Even using that, they have lowered power of their attack. Their attacks had crashed on the energy layer that covering my body, but not even ripple had produced. Seeing their attacks are not working, they had increased the power of their attack to the peak, but the result was the same. 4 of them stopped. They must have been shocked seeing this, not only that, I am also shocked. In the shield, I had barely mixed 10% of power of Sunfire. I thought it would barely able to hold against their attacks, but it holds way better than I had expected, that it didn't even produce a ripple. "Friend, you are stronger than we thought. Looks like we will have to use more force," said leader, and I sensed dangerous magic fluctuation from him. I immediately added 20% more power of Sunfire into my shield as the next moment before their attacks come across my shield. Medius type skills are way more powerful than low-level skills. If I had just added 10% more, the child would have definitely got broken in a single attack. The leader stopped right after a single attack. His teammates also stopped, seeing their leader had stopped, but from their body language, they seemed confused as they didn't know why their leader had stopped. From their point of view, my defense skill is little. Despite being low-level night-grade skill and used by peak corporal stage, it was able to withstand their attack without producing the ripple, but when they used their mid-level night-grade skill, their attack started to make ripples on the shield. They think that as long as they kept attacking for quite a while, I will not be able to support it and be defeated by them. Friend, I did not expect you had comprehended the rule, said the leader, which completely shocked three people to the core. They had gone to the awakening ground and knew how hard is testis. Of all the millions of people that attempted the test, including them, only bare thousands were able to pass it. I became vigilant, hearing that, as I know that I am 30% of rule power, which is very hard for normal people to see it, but it wasn't a problem for those who had comprehended the rule. They can sense it easily if the energy of rule is a little strong. Sigh with you comprehending the power of rule, a friend, we understand you will need all the things you have. It's bad of us asking you for your thing and we are sorry for that, said leader and turned to leave. Stop. Chapter 317 Looting? 2. Stop. I said as they were leaving. They wanted to rob me, but after seeing I have rule power, they said I will not ask for my money and started to leave. How can I let them leave just like that? I had at least give them little punishment. The most fitting would take all their stuff, as this is what they wanted to do with me. They all stopped by my voice and turned toward me. Do you have something to say to us, friend? Asked the leader. Yes, I would like if you all could give all your stuff to me, as you have said with rule power with me. I would need a lot of stuff, I said with a serious face. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Don't joke, friend, we did not take your stuff because rule power, and you are not the only ones who had the rule power. Replied leader, and I felt familiar cool sensation oozing from his body. Rule of water came into my mind. The leader had definitely comprehended the rule of water. Only rule of water had such gentleness with a slightly cool touch. You may have comprehended the rule, but I still need you all to give me your stuff, I said, looking straight at the eye of the leader. If he was any 2ND level rule, I would back down and let them go, seeing how he is at the lieutenant stage, but his rule is just level 3 rule. Why? Asked back the leader. This time I didn't reply to his question, instead projected rule of Sunfire into its full glory without holding back anything. All the comprehension I got imprinted from Ashlyn is radiating from me. Just as I did that, all 4 of them took a step back in a hurry, not only that they even erected their defense type skills. Rule of Sunfire is not the normal rule, it a peak 2nd level rule which is descended from level 1 rule, rule of Sun. Level 3 rule, even normal level 2 couldn't compare to it. Now, give me your storages, I said as I toned down my condition. I did that because I felt that if I asked them for all their stuff, they would fight and I may end up killing them, which I didn't want to see. They didn't even exclude shred of killing intent when they tried to rob me. I would feel quite bad if I kill them. They stayed silent by my question, but all of them had cast an eye at their leader, waiting for him to take the first step. Take it, said the leader finally after few a second as he took out storage from his pocket and gave it to me. Seeing their leader had given me his storage, the other 3 followed without question. Thank you, the things you have given me generously will help me a lot in my practice, I said and left running on the air. I am in quite a good mood as I run toward the boundary. These 4 storages must have quite a few good things even if it is not their real storage. Boss, why did we give him our stuff? Even if he has high level rule, your power is 3 stages higher than him, you could have been able to beat him, said his friend. Slap. Idiot, said leader as he slapped his friend. It was his mercy that he didn't attack us, otherwise we wouldn't have lasted a single move of his, said leader, which shocked all of them. Ever since their leader had comprehended the rule, there was barely anyone is their leader match. Their leader has fought many people with rule, even those of 2nd level rule, and survived, so it is very hard for them to think that their leader wouldn't last single move of that body. If I guessed right, then the rule he had comprehended is peak 2ND level, leader said in a small and a whisper-like voice. But we still lost our storages, boss, said the same boy who got slapped earlier. Slap. Why are you crying for simple storage? You have not given him your real storage, are you? Asked back the leader. No boss, it's not my real storage but the storage I have him had that robe, he replied in a small voice. Hearing that leader didn't say anything for a few seconds, well, that robe was simply mana guzzler and did not provide that good defense but was able to empty my mana within half an hour. Said leader shudderingly. Let's not waste any time here, we should quickly find new prey to gain what we have lost while ago. Region 8, I thought as I stepped through the boundary. After coming across the first group of bandits I came across other two. One was good-natured as the one I had encountered but the other one vicious which excluded heavy killing intent toward me. I did not waste my time with them after they asked me for my stuff, they all been killed and turned to ashes. I really didn't want to kill them but sensing such killing intent, I had to kill them thinking to produce such killing intent they must have killed a lot of people. After knowing my location, I moved toward the boundary. I hope to reach Region 7 before my time of sleeping. With air walking skill my speed is pretty fast, the only things which create an action in my way are either monsters and bandits. I have to say there are worsening 8 than Region 9, I had already come across 5 bandits before I crossed the half distance and I am sure I will come across more of them as I reached closer to the boundary. That held absolutely true, as I reached closer to the boundary I came across more bandits teams. The banditry had increased tens of times more than that is 3 weeks ago and the on is quite simple. Millions of people from West Blood had entered the awakening ground and each of every one of them had brought something precious from there. So, if wants become is very rich then he just has to rob 10 some people and doing that he will have enough wealth to support his practice for a few years, not to mention the totem artifacts and other precious things he will get from robbing people. As get closer to the boundary, I have come across many bandits, some of them were good while some were bad. All the bad ones I've come across been killed by me. I first didn't notice a thing but as I kept killing more, I started to gain a small understanding about rule of killing and that horrified me and it took me a while to calm down and think rationally. From the memories, I knew that killing is one of the ways to advance understanding in rule of killing. There are other ways but killing is one of the best but I also know that if one uses only killing way to gain comprehend rule of killing, then he would get stumped at one point and will not be able to advance his understanding. So, when I am done experiencing the memories, I have already decided the way I am going to comprehend the rule of killing. Killing would be used to comprehend rule of killing in my way but it's going to be minimum and I had already sworn I will never kill to comprehend rule of killing and only kill those who wish to kill me. Time passed by I soon crossed the boundary of Region 8 and entered Region 7, the first thing I felt on me is rain which happens fall year long and on 7. Seeing I had now entered Region 7, I started to find a good place to set up a camp. It had been more than 10 hours since I had left the ground, all the fighting and traveling of these few hours have made me really tired. Of all the 9 regions, it is Region 7 where finding the spot for camp is really hard as it is wet and damp all year long. I was a good thing that I had night level camp which had no problem with any kind of terrain, as long as they're ground. Chapter 318 Counting. After taking a long shower to feel refresh, I started making dinner for us. Ashlyn and I ate dinner in silence. Normally we talked a little more as I talk and she chirps but today is one of those silent days where we both have didn't much to talk about. After finishing dinner Ashlyn laid on her stomach to digest food while I started to empty my storage excitedly. In a whole day, I had come across many robbers and many have robbed back each and every one of them, not to forget the ones I had killed. All these storages spread in front of me, there is 32 storage and it also has the storage I got from killing Fatty. In front of me is 30 storages and I am confident not only these storages of having a lot of stuff inside them, but I also think there are many storages inside these storages as these are all from the bandits. First thing I did is expand my tent to its full size. I don't think the medium-sized tent would be big enough to contain all the stuff that I will take out from the storages. Fuck. By the time I finished taking out all the stuff from the storages, there is barely any space left in my tent. There would have been many times more stuff if not me packing that stuff in the night-grade storages. All that is lying in front of me is important stuff from each category. Before I started opening storages, I thought maximum stuff I would get from this storage would fill my tent, but I was so wrong. As I had expected, inside the storages there were more storages. I got a total 97 storages in total, and there are some high-grade storages in there also. There are many types of stuff I got from the storages, but most important of all are the totem artifacts. There are 79 totem artifacts of different types. More than half of them are offensive stuff, but there are defense type and shoe type artifact also present. Aside from totem artifact, there are some night grade artifacts, potions, totem making materials, foodstuff on which Ashlyn munching on. With all this stuff, I have become crazy rich and will not have to worry about any stuff, as whatever I wanted is here. I started to view one by one, then put them in different storage which I had already arranged. First thing I checked is calming crystals. When I first took them out of storage, I did not believe what is real and even pinched my cheeks to what I am seeing is real or not. Calming crystals are crazy expensive and very very rare, like miracle fruit whenever appeared in the market, it gets sold. In the Fairy Awakening ground, they are quite cheap but still were crazy expensive. One calming crystal is sold for 10 refined crystal, which is 10 billion credits. As its name suggests, calming crystals help in calming and focusing the mind. It may sound small, but daily practicing in its presence yields many times more benefits than normal. There are 5 crystals in total, which will be enough for me and my parents. Few hours passed by as I kept checking each and every stuff. I finally finished with all except for a pile of totem artifacts. I had left the best for last. Each and every totem artifact in front of me expensive, and fortunately now I am able to identify the grade of totem artifact. To learn this reviewing, I had spent the 300 wisdom credit. Now, I am able to identify the grade of totem artifact, but identifying which level it is still difficult for me. I started with the first totem artifact I got today, which is the sword that Fatty used. I picked his sword in both of my hand and concentrate all my mental energy on it, and second a feeling arose inside it due to my mental energy and me instantly able to any identity which grade of is this totem artifact on that feeling. It is Colonel grade sword, and it feels quite surprising to me as Kelowna grade totem is very expensive. The Lieutenant grade shoe type totem artifact that I had brought had cost me more than 1/3 of my wisdom credits. The price of totem artifact increased much time with each grade, and these Colonel grade artifacts are crazy expensive. To put it in more money than the price of the Colonel grade totem artifact would be around 100 refined mana crystals. Compared to it, the shoe type Lieutenant grade totem artifact I brought had just cost me nearly 1.5 refined mana crystals. That is how the price of totem artifact increased with each grade. That is why I am surprised to see that Fatty's sword is Colonel grade artifact, as he must have paid quite a lot to get it. Michael didn't know, but when Dean had transported to the Region 6, he directly transported inside Dead Volcano, and when getting out he struck rich as he came across a big chunk of fire crystal. Only selling that big chunk of fire crystal did he able to buy that Colonel grade sword. After Fatty's sword, I kept checking other totem artifacts. All the totem artifact are within my expectations except for one, which battle axe, and also a Colonel grade totem artifact. I had not expected to find another Colonel grade totem artifact, but look like luck is shining bright on me today to give me another Colonel grade artifact. One by one I kept checking all the totem artifact, leaving one as this one is most peculiar of all totem artifacts I got. It is a robe, a plain simple white robe, but that is only common thing about this robe, as everything else about it is simply abnormal. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. When I touched it the first time, I felt sucking sensation from it. It had started to suck my mana, and that sucking did not stop no matter what I did. It had only stopped when I removed my hands from it. I even tried to sense to check what grade of totem artifact it is, but was quite shocked to see that it had even started to suck my mental energy, which scared the hell out of me. I wanted to try wearing this robe, to see if any change appears into it. As I lifted to touch the robe, I felt it sucking of my mana. Not being surprised by it, I lifted it, wore it in my body. No change had occurred into it as I wore it. It felt like I am wearing a normal robe. I hadn't activated it yet. I am still quite fearful of what will happen if I activate it. Taking a deep breath, I activated it, and just as I activated it, a ripple had formed across it, and then sucking force increased many folds. Its speed is so fast that I felt like it wouldn't make it 5 minutes to drain my mana. Without waiting for anything, I quickly removed the robe and threw it out on the bed. Fucking shit. I cursed, this fucking robe is simply abnormal. The first sucking force was normal, it only took a very minute amount of mana to drain me. At that speed, it would take a day to drain me. My body makes mana faster than speed, so it is no loss even if I kept wearing it, but that fucking speed of sucking when I activated it simply abnormal. I put away that robe back into the storage. I will check when my stage increased enough to bear that sucking. I had put everything in storage except for 3 totem artifact that is in front of me. One is a sword, a waist, and white ceramic mask with a beautiful blue design. I had decided these 3 artifacts daily, except for waist, which captain grade totem artifact, others are lieutenant grade. I am safe in the Minerva realm as there is barely anyone in my match here, but it is different outside. Chapter 319 Rule of Strength. I woke up quite late the next morning as I had quite safe after sorting out all the stuff. I feel quite good though. I had gained more stuff than I had imagined, and this is not the end as I will come across more till the 5th region. After taking a shower, I started to cook lunch, but today's lunch is quite special as except for meat it is wholly made by materials from the central continent. I had gained more than enough food-related stuff. If I use it quite frugally it can last me a year. As I am about to start making food, a pleasant thought came into my mind and I decided to make today's meal a 4-course. It will take me just a little effort and time which today I am willing to give. Ashlyn was quite angry at first seeing it as taking time to make, but when she saw that the food going to be amazing, she became quiet but not before demanding the snack from the stuff I got yesterday. It took me 2 hours to make the food, but it was worth it as I wasn't able to stop myself from eating after taking the first bite. I am full. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. I said as I rubbed my tummy. I had really eaten a lot more than I can digest. Now, I can understand why Ashlyn laid on her stomach every time she ate. It took me half an hour to stand up and start preparing to leave as I felt quite heavy after eating. I wore all the artifact I had selected yesterday, including the white sneaker shoes which I brought in the awakening grade. The reason I have not changed my shoe type totem artifact because it is already the lowest grade, so there is no need to change it. After packing everything, I took the high jump and started running on the sky. As for the rain that is falling, I simply covered myself with a faint layer of silver fire, so the rain would turn into steam before it could touch my body. I had encountered the first bandit team after half an hour leaving the camp. There were 6 people and all of them were emitting killing intent toward me, but it was faint. They likely wanted to break some of my bones before robbing me whole. They are going to injure me but not kill me, and I did the same with them. After hearing their bandit speed which every bandit group has and enduring some of their attacks, I simply launch a firebolt with the power of sunfire. 2 of the 6 bandits had the power of rule, but they were not able to counter against my fire bolts. I left them injured after looking at them. As my journey progressed, the more bandits I have come across, it feels like every region's strength of bandits and their numbers kept increasing, and I kept finding more and more bandits who have the power of rule. But all the bandits I've come across have level 3 rule power. I have not come across anyone who has 2 ND level rules. I wanted to fight with those who have level 2 rules. I wanted to see how my rule of sunfire measured against it. Level 3 rule don't stand a chance against me, no matter how powerful they are. As I was about to cross the boundary, I activated my defensive skill and also combined full power of sunfire with it, so even if I transformed in the volcano, I will have a slight chance to survive. As I crossed the boundary, I appeared on the other side in Region 6, with my luck being good I didn't transport inside the volcano but outside it. Looking around I quickly defined my direction and took a jump in the sky. I wanted to cross the Region 6 today if possible. If my journey is unobstructed, then there's a chance, but with all these bandits my journey became delayed. Name of devil and devil came. Just as I thought about AP I thought we sigh as I saw a team of bandits coming toward me. Dealing with them within minutes, I resumed my journey. The team of the bandit was quite good but still a small fry despite having all the lieutenant stage members. Not only I, even if they had come to the Ross Corporal stage who had comprehended the level 3 rule power, He would have also been able to deal with these people with little effort. Power of rule transcends stages. Even at a low-level understanding, I could beat lieutenant level like, and then I can imagine how powerful I would have been understandings had reached the medium level, even high level. From the memories, I know that the central continent, those people who could comprehend rule to the peak level of basic grade when they are in night stage and extremely red, extremely talented, and even members of the supreme level organizations look down on them. The owner had also advanced his rule of killing to the peak level of basic stage, and he was quite proud of that. Comprehending the rule is easier, but advancing is harder, and the higher the level of rule is, the more difficult it is to advance. As I was reaching near the boundary, I found 3 people coming toward me. These 3 people were wearing masks and also robe white hide their body getup. This getup seemed to be trending amongst the bandits. Most of the bandits I had come across wore similar getup to this. "Stop," said leader in a hoarse voice as they were 10-some meters away from me. I can sense that 3 of them are at the initial stage of lieutenant stage. Experiencing this 10 of time, I slowly landed on the ground. Seeing I am landing on the ground, they also landed in front of me. "What do you want?" I asked the classic question which I had asked tens of times to the bandits when they came to rob me. "Cut the crap, we are bandits and we want to rob you. If you don't want all of your bones broken and left lying like a dead dog, give us all the stuff you have," said the leader. "No." He became surprised by my direct reply, as other people would either say something placating, flattering, or run or attack, but he had never seen someone directly say no from all the people he had robbed. "Then, I'll have to break your bones and take your stuff, you to beat him up and take his stuff," ordered leader to his minions. I quickly activated my defense skill, seeing their attack is coming. Bang 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 bang. They launched attack after attack, but not a ripple had appeared on the shield. "Rule power?" asked leader with surprising sound, seeing not his 2 lieutenant stage minions' attacks are not even producing ripple on the low-level defensive skill of corporal stage. I did not reply to his question but gave a provocative smile and stallers. "I'll see if your shield can hold it against this," said leader, and oppressive feeling emitted from him. This feeling had raw power, it could crush anything that comes in their way. Feeling such oppressive feeling, I know which rule of this bandit leader had comprehended and quite excited to go against it. The leader had comprehended the level 2 rule and one of the best effective type in level 2 rule, the rule of strength. Chapter 320 Rule of Strength 2. He casually took out Warhammer from his storage. The Warhammer looked like it was made of black stone and would be quite heavy. He simply swung his Warhammer at me, without using a skill or his ability. Seeing the hammer coming toward and feeling its oppressive feeling, I quickly added more power of sun fire, making it to 25%. Bam! His Warhammer clashed across my shield, making huge sound. Not only it made sound, the wave of force released from the clash made 2 of his minions take steps back. The blow of his Warhammer may seem casual, but it was filled with heavy power of rule of strength. Even the leader is genuinely surprised, seeing his blow was not able to attack. I slowly deactivate my shield and take out the sword off my waist. The new sword is lieutenant grade totem artifact. It looked quite pretty with its combination of black and silver. I really wanted to test the power of rule against another who comprehended the 2ND level rule. He said as he activated several of his skill. I wanted to say the same thing. Fighting against those who had comprehended the level 3 rule is no fun now. The only ones who could give me the challenge is those who had comprehended level 2 rule. I also activated my strength and speed type skills at their peak. Not only that, I also increased the power of rule, so that I won't get caught offhand seeing the opponent is lieutenant stage evolver. He came at me with his attack. This time he had definitely activated his attack type skill, and it not a low-level skill but mid-level skills. His Warhammer came toward me swiftly, leaving behind sparks of the blue energy. Just as he launched his attack, my sword also swung toward him. Both of our attacks had merged with the power of rule. It would be quite interesting to see how they react with each other. Clang! As our swords clashed, both powers of rule on weapons had gone against each other. The rule of strength with heavy oppressive feeling came toward my sword to crush me, but just as it touched my sword, it collides against the heavy searing feeling. The oppressiveness of rule of strength instantly diminished and it started to burn. In less than a second all the rule of strength that came touched my sword burned into nothing. It didn't get the chance to reach halfway into my sword, much less into my body. As his rule of power diminished, the leader instantly took a jump back with heavy surprise on his face. Sunfire, leader asked, but all I did smile to his question. Earlier he must have thought the rule power I have comprehended is a high-level variation of fire, not the Sunfire. Comprehending peak level 2 is very hard and very few people could do it in the central continent, and it is especially hard in places like Awakening Ground where there is barely any rule of power left in rule of object of peak level 2 rule. The leader did not back down after guessing I had comprehended peak level 2 rule, instead rule of strength in his body become more oppressive. Very good, you are the opponent who could make me use all the power of rule, he said as came at me with more oppressive feeling. Obviously he had increased his power of rule by a lot. Seeing such fighting intent in my opponent, I couldn't help but pumped up as I also want to know how is my fighting ability against him. It will help me accurately judge the other opponents who have level 2 rule power. Clang! Our weapons clashed again, and this time, the result was much different than the last time, but this time the leader didn't jump back. Instead, he increased the power of rule again and launched another attack. Clang 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 clang. Our weapons clashed tens of times at every time, the power of the rule increased by the notch. He had tried many times to increase his rule of power to crush me, but whenever his power of rule touched my sword, it would get evaporated. His strength rule's not even able to gain even inch of advantage over me no matter how many times he tried. Through our battle, I have sensed that his comprehension has also reached low level of the basic stage, about the same as my comprehension on the rule of killing, but I am not fighting with him with rule of killing, instead with rule of Sunfire, which's comprehension is way ahead of the rule of killing. Clang! With the clash of weapons, we both took a step back to catch a breath. Within this few minutes we had exchanged hundreds of blows that made us a little tired. Through this fighting, I guessed that my opponent had reached near his limit and using 95% power of his strength of rule while I had barely used 40% of it. Despite using nearly all of his rule power, I still think he has yet to use his trump cards. As I thought this, I sensed high magic fluctuation from him as light blue layer had covered his whole body. I am a little surprised to see this as he had clearly activated very good strength type skill and even managed to add some rule of strength in it. He is quite talented. Normal people would need at least a month to be able to do that, but he was able to do it in just a few days. The only other explanation for this that he may be in the first batch of people who had entered the Awakening Ground and comprehend the rule, which gave him ample time of about 2 weeks to practice the rule with the skill. This is my most powerful move, let's see if you are able to counter it, said the bandit leader cam at me. This time, I felt a threatening feeling from him, not wanting to take any risks. I upped my rule power to 50% directly. Coming close to me, he swung his warhammer with all the strength he has. I could even see his muscle bulging when he launched this strike. I didn't back down either, except for only 50% of my rule power. I have used every bit of power my skills offered. Bong! Our weapons clashed and the loud bang sounded. It was so loud that it left my ears buzzing. Pooh! 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 Unlike earlier times, this time I will my rule power to transfer toward his warhammer. The searing force of Sunfire traveled to his warhammer and burned whatever comes in its ways and finally enters the leader body, which made him puke bloody fog instantly. Not only that, the searing power of Sunfire weakened him so much that he had kneeled to the ground. He is injured quite badly, but it's nothing that healing potions can't heal. As for the power of Sunfire in his body, I can feel his rule of strength fighting it furiously and would whittle it away in a few seconds. Boss! Boss! His 2 minions instantly came to his rescue and quickly fed him the potion bottle, and within a minute, the bandit leader became free of any injury. Find authorized novels and web novel faster updates. Better experience, please click www.novelhall.com for visiting. Now, can we talk about the stuff that you are going to take from me? I asked smilingly to 3 of them.